program doesn't expire until January of 2021. We'll have more news after this.
Sometimes a penny saved can lead to much more than a penny earned. With GPA Energy Sense rebate program, the power is yours. Earn money back while saving on your monthly power bill. GPA Energy Sense rebate program will help lower your initial costs when purchasing approved GPA energy efficient appliances and upgrades with monthly savings you can expect. For more Energy Sense saving ideas, visit GuamPowerAuthority.com or like us on Facebook. GPA, bringing energy solutions to you.
Attention GovGuam employees. Open enrollment for GovGuam health insurance plans begins on September 17 through the 28th. With a wide range of healthcare offerings, Take Care's benefit plans allow members access to more than 120 medical providers, 40 dental providers, and 20 pharmacies in the region. Get access to 19 fitness partners, including the largest fully functioning fitness center in Hagåtña and Dedido. As Guam's leading healthcare provider, our commitment to your health has never been stronger. Take care. Our island, your health plan.
News time here at The Point is 11 minutes past 6 a.m. NAVFAC Pacific has awarded an $82 million fixed-price contract to Black Construction to design and build an aircraft maintenance facility and a corrosion control hangar at Andersen Air Force Base. The job includes the design and construction of a low-rise airframe shop with a shallow foundation and reinforced concrete walls, as well as mechanical and electrical systems appropriate to Guam's earthquake and environmental conditions. The project's completion date set for January 2021. 5 contractors competed for the contract, which was procured through the Federal Business Opportunities website. Guam Community College and the Guam Department of Education have launched a technical education program in telecommunications. GCC President Mary Okada was joined yesterday by GovGuam officials and representatives from Docomo Pacific, GTA, and IT&E for the formal launch of the program at Tientsin High School. In her remarks, GCC President Okada said the Guam Chamber started the conversation about 2 years ago about creating a Silicon Village for Guam in an effort to devise a program to prepare students for the future of telecommunications. GCC's Industry Advisory Committee then partnered with Guam telecom professionals to develop this new program for high school students to address the need for more IT workers on island. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now talk weather.
It's going to be Ray and Mike and Ken from the National Weather Service. Good morning, Ken. Good morning. How you doing there?
Good morning. I'm doing good. How about you?
Not bad. Was able to get some sleep last night. Otherwise, I was going to toss and turn and worry about what the weather might be this weekend. There's a craft beer festival happening on Saturday, and I'd really rather be there than here doing weather reports all day. So give me an idea of what the weekend weather's going to look like.
Well, it's kind of a toss-up on exactly what's going to happen, but overall we can tell it's going to be probably a wet weekend.
All right. Well, that's okay, because the thing I want to go to is inside, so I think I'm going to be okay there. But
you're right.
Give me an idea. Why is this such a toss-up? Let's talk about 94W, the invest that's out there.
Well, the thing is that thing sitting down there, we're not really sure what it's going to do. It's been sitting there for a little while, and kind of meandering around near Ponape. It's now drifted a little south and east of Ponape. And yesterday it was north of Ponape. Mm-hmm. So it's been kind of drifting around there, and it depends on how that thing actually develops. Right now, all of our consensus is that it's going to move our way. Mm-hmm. What's not sure is how strong it's going to be. Some of the models are saying it could come through as a strong tropical system. Mm-hmm. Others are saying that it could just come through as a weak circulation, but all agree that we're going to get wet.
And maybe sometime on the weekend, Saturdays, I think the target time period, right?
Yes.
When will we know a little bit more? I get the meandering part, and I get that there are models that seem to disagree with each other. But at some point, when do we start thinking that there might be a consensus view on about where it's going to be going through the Marianas and what strength it's going to be?
Well, that's going to be when it finally decides to start moving.
Right.
If it could just sit there and die out. None of the models are really expecting that, mm-hmm. and we don't really expect that to happen. But that's always a possibility. The other thing is when it actually does start to move out, we can get a better idea what it's going to be doing. But sometimes these things will sit down there for days, even over a week, before they actually start moving out like they normally would. So it really depends on how long it sits there.
I see. And not doing much by way of development right now.
Right. It's not doing much of anything. It's stayed pretty weak and diffuse, and so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Hey, Ken, Michael Knight here. It's real close to the equator, and we've got a little bit of a circulation down in the southern hemisphere. What are the possibilities that all this energy might get sucked down into that thing?
Well, they're separated systems, and they don't really tend to pull from each other. There are times when you'll get like twin storms that'll develop, one on the north of the equator, one south of the equator, and they'll kind of move in tandem. That has happened. But they usually don't feed off of each other.
Any recommendations from the National Weather Service on what kind of preparations we should be taking right now?
Well, just always be ready. You never know. We could end up with nothing happening this weekend other than some rain, or we could end up putting out warnings for tropical storms or typhoons. So be prepared for anything.
A definite maybe here. I think the last thing I saw before I went to sleep last night was it doesn't look like there's any chance for development in the next 24 hours. Again, that was last night about 8 o'clock at night.
Anything in the next 24 hours, probably not even much in the next 36 to 48 hours.
Yeah.
But beyond that is the questionable time.
What we're most worried about here, as usual, is we shut down the shop here about 6 o'clock on Friday afternoon, and we don't want to have to worry that we will have to reopen and re-energize things and try to catch people while they're out doing their weekend activities and let them know that they might have a limited amount of time to prepare for inclement weather and flooding and rain.
Yeah, we like to know that ourselves ahead of time. Usually it ends up that, if things happen on a weekend, it's hard to get people notified.
All right. Well, let me take advantage of the fact that I got somebody from the National Weather Service on the line right now. What's the weather going to be like today?
Today, it's going to be a little wet here on Guam. The rest of the CNMI is going to be fairly dry, but what we're looking at is very light winds through today, light and variable winds. So we could see some of the island convection, when we get just the showers and thunderstorms that pop up over the island from the daily heating. Yeah. And there's going to be some spotty areas that are going to get some pretty heavy showers. Gotcha. All right. Well, we'll keep an eye out for that and watch I was going to say watch the satellite. I think the radar is down. Somebody's got to go reset the gizmo now. Well, it's actually... It's broken. No, it's just broken now. They have to wait for some parts. Aye. So it's not a good time for it to be down, but unfortunately it is. Well, we got a spare Framus here if you need one. What about the Zorker? Do we have another Zorker in the back?
I've got 2 of those. All
right. Double diode Zorkers, Framus, Resurgers, whatever you need, we've got.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Ken. I'll talk to you pretty soon. Thanks. Ken for the National Weather Service, and there it is. Partly sunny skies, isolated showers, maybe some isolated thunderstorms through the mid-morning. Light and variable winds becoming westerly about 10 miles an hour this afternoon. Expected daytime highs about 88 degrees. Max afternoon heat index about 101. Lows near 78 degrees. Sun's been up for a little bit, and sunset tonight at 6:14. That's news and weather together, brought to you by Bank Pacific, where others put branches, they place roots.
Morrico Equipment on Ipoh Road has been around a while. 28 years on Guam, in fact. 28 long years of dealing with Gov Guam, persevering through typhoons, earthquakes, the U.S. military, boony dogs, boony grass, off-island, on-island, old Marine Corps drive, destructive winds, and dangerous surf. So they know a bit about equipment on Guam. Lucky for us, the employees who work at Morrico Equipment also own Morrico Equipment because they're very proud of what they do. Call 649-1946 or click morricoequipment.com.
I see it. Wednesday, so pork sinigang today is the big lunch special at King's. That's where we expect you to go. That's where we want you to go for lunch today and enjoy the fantastic food that they've got lined up. Pork sinigang, not your thing? Understand? Then sell you one. Ask them about the pick 2 or pick 3 combos today for lunch at King's.
Honolulu, Seattle, L.A., Vegas, Chicago, New York. With your First Hawaiian Bank United Mileage Plus credit card, you can save 10% on United flights to these great cities and anywhere else in the U.S. Book your tickets at the United City Ticket Office, talk to your travel agent, or go to united.com and use promo code FHB18U. Visit FHB.com/United Fair Sale 18 for offer details and restrictions. Terms and conditions apply. First Hawaiian Bank, member FDIC.
Portions of the Ray Gibson Show brought to you by Guam Regional Medical City, the first choice for all of your open heart surgery needs. Also, our friends at American President Lines, they're shipping the future. Micronesia Renewable Energy, where there's never been a better time to start thinking about going solar. And American Water Tech, smarter water, better water.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
It's 20 after 6 o'clock in the morning. Welcome to the Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point. My name is Ray Gibson. I got Michael Knight watching the weather and watching the phones at 888-8255. That's 888-8255. Kevin Kerrigan, that is the amazing Kevin Kerrigan with news today from the Guam Daily Post. And appreciate him being able to put together as much news as he was, because frankly, there wasn't a whole lot going on yesterday, was it? It's a quiet day in the fort yesterday, huh?
Comparatively.
Comparatively, yeah.
We need a few days like that every once in a while, don't you think?
Just catch your breath.
Yeah.
No fireworks at the legislature. No fireworks at the governor's office.
Session starts on Monday. We'll look forward to that.
Do we have the agenda? Do I have an agenda?
We do. I can forward it to you.
I'd love to see the agenda. Is there anything funny? Is there marijuana in it?
Yes.
Yes, yes, we have marijuana in the.
I ain't high. I'll tell you that, man. I don't feel nothing, man.
Yeah, because now everybody around here is going. What did you see? What they did up in Saipan? It's a little Saipan, a little Northern Mariana, and they by statute, by legislative action, they were able to dispense with all of it. It's a bunch of brave people they've got apparently in the Senate and the House in the CNMI, and they just decided, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and make it so that if you want to smoke marijuana here among the shores of our islands, we're not going to stop you. You go right ahead.
Yeah, basically they were like, if you guys don't like it, you can leave.
Yeah, so go to Guam if you don't want to smoke marijuana. Go to Guam, because there's no marijuana smoking on Guam. There's no drugs here. We don't have a problem like that. So I was kind of curious. If that was going to be a part of the legislative agenda this week, and to the degree that I have not seen the agenda, I'm delighted to get the report from Kevin Kerrigan that there might be actually something in there. And as I said, I'll lay it out again for you. I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't smoke marijuana. I don't know that I run around with people that smoke marijuana. But if you want to smoke marijuana and you promise not to get in a car and drive or make important decisions like, whether or not you ought to take a gun out of somebody's pocket at a party, you just do whatever you want to do. Just don't bother me about it.
See, weed won't make someone do that. Now, if the policeman had a bag of Cheetos in his holster, that's a different thing.
Yeah, and so the only movement that we've got on that conversation is that my cousin Judge Mike Berdalio, the latest to file a disqualification notice, he says my brother and sister-in-law were running in different campaigns against Ray Tenorio, so there might be a little bit of a bias might come into question here. So I think it might be a good idea for me to disqualify myself. What I refer to as, and I get it, I understand. I mean, if somebody asked me, would you be able to be fair and impartial and on balance in a case dealing with Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio, the answer would be no, I couldn't. I've known Ray Tenorio for virtually all of my adult life. I guarantee all of his adult life. I've known the guy. And there was a time, I remember I was on the air once complaining that my daughter's Game Boy was busted. And Ray sent his Game Boy over to replace it because he had another one. He had a spare. And so he gave my daughter his Game Boy. And Ray's a gamer, a Warcraft gamer from a long time ago. And I just automatically assumed that those guys, they're great guys, right? So I would be incapable. I would have to recuse myself. I would have to disqualify myself from that particular game. And I would venture to say that virtually everybody on Guam now would need to do it. If for no other reason, and I can't show it to you right now, if for no other reason, because the broad and widespread distribution, you're waiting for me to say, of news. No, of memes, of funny Ray Tenorio memes.
That's a different kind of news.
That have been coming out and in social media lately. There's a new Jesus. I'll play it for you later. So as soon as I figure out why I can't get it on the screen right now, I'll play it for you later. But there's now the Jesus meme. Have you seen the Jesus Ray Tenorio meme?
Not, is it anything like this?
Get up, it's Jesus Day.
No, it's not. It's not. One of these days we'll find a replacement for that. It's where's the time here? 6:25. Let me, before I get lost in a rant here, go on to welcome everybody to the program.
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see the troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name.
Good morning, Kaylee, Charlene Marchessault, and I see Richard, you in there, Juanita Machi. Have a day to Ismail Veliz, Ryan St. Nicholas, Nick Perlowski, good to have you, waking up early. Again, Joe Flores says, good morning, Ray and Kev. Don't forget Mike. I see Greg Massey there, Joe Chrysostomo Wesley, and Chris from Big Abetta there, Ken LG, Vivian Cunningham. I got Randy Kruger and Doris Minjola, Lillian Cruz saying, good morning, Ray, Kevin, and Michael. And that is followed by a number of ellipses, 3 cups of coffee, and 3 hand claps. I appreciate the gestures there. My cousin Tedo's out there, Renzo Osborne, Lynn Vince, Borja Polino, Carmen Leon Guerrero, Mark Mendiola, Vince Duenas, Burton Manansala says, good morning, Ray, and your awesome crew. Yes, they are awesome, huh? Can I thank you very much for acknowledging the awesomeness of this morning wake-up team that I've got here. Francis Salas, Anita Muffness with the Valentine eyeball things going on, Carl and Jerry Gutierrez. And Uncle Carl, I'm curious to find out what your feelings are about your former, what was he, co-chair of the campaign, Jess Lujan? Co-chair of the Gutierrez-Bradallo campaign.
And Vic Gaza, campaign manager.
Well, so my understanding is that because they used to do this thing on Facebook Live. They used to do like an interview show. Jesse would do this thing after we were off the air and be talking with Gutierrez supporters and Carl himself and Freddie and talk about platform issues and things like that. And apparently he's going to be doing the same thing again, except with Bota. Is what I'm hearing. I'm kind of curious as to how how that is playing out in your head. Ismael, who's got a great sense of humor, says, now every time I walk past the Jell-O aisle, I feel violated by Bill Cosby. That is an amazing headline. It's already taken over a big chunk of the social media that I look at. Rico Bancaflor. Tedo says, good morning. In the old days, remember the Navy weather planes, better than computers and 100% accurate. I don't know 100% accuracy. There was something neat about having a bunch of guys from a weather squadron out here go and be able to do the technology of flying into, first of all, over an active cyclone formation and then drop down into the eye and then bounce around along the eye wall, reaching in, getting all kinds of data that maybe you weren't able to get from the current technology at the time. But it seems to me that almost every data set that you would want to get out of those, we can get from the satellites.
Yeah, you really can. That's really one of the reasons, along with cost concerns, is why they stopped doing tropical system fly-ins.
But they still did them in Florida. They did them in North Carolina.
They still do them in the mainland. Yes,
so I think that's I think maybe that's the deal is they said no, the satellites are adequate replacements and there's a lot of cost involved with doing it, but they still do it over in the east coast of the United States where arguably there are satellites and is the fuel that much less expensive there.
But I got to say, for us to actually follow these systems constantly, it's one of the things we lament is the fact that there is no reconnaissance flights here, and we could use some because there are doubts about the strength of some of these systems like Haiyan. No one really knows how strong Haiyan, or some know as Yolanda, was when it hit the Philippines. Some say it was the strongest ever.
It would have been nice if somebody would have flown into it to find out what the deal was with that. Andy Tydenko was there. I see Carl Pangilinan, followed by Tricia Cruz. Amazing the proximity of those names. Dora Marie Figueroa, Jeffrey Ojeda is there as well. I see Teresa Arroyo Matanani, Greg Karabuck, Emma Tanya Affligui Conception. Lynn Paris, Kate Baltazar, Debbie Ratuyan. Advertisers, if you are looking to reach exactly this demographic of individuals that we've got in this town, they're all right here watching the program. Amanda Shelton, Pete Guerrero, Jeff Pleadwell is there as well. Barbara Whiteweather. Yeah, we all remember. What's Joe Flores writing about? GPD Carl Cruz's brother Bill is very disappointed about his brother's case on the Glock party, saying Eddie and Ray Tenorio are lying. Who says that? Carl Cruz's brother Bill? Okay, well, I'll investigate, Joe. I appreciate you pointing that out on the Facebook Live. Also, a great way to get a hold of us and try to drive a little bit of the conversation that we're going to be having here. 6:30 in the morning, and so given the just can I say it's boring news today. So I've titled the program Plot Twist Wednesday. Plot Twist Wednesday. And the reason is because we did have a day of being able to catch our breath. I mean, what a big story here. A theft at a jewelry store in the tourist district. Looks like somebody went into Silver Mania jewelry shop and using a very common tactic, a very common technique is one guy will distract the clerk. And these days, you know, cost of doing business around here, cost of administration and payroll and all of that stuff. Sometimes it's just one clerk in the store. And while that clerk is occupied, somebody else goes and starts heisting the remainder of the jewelry, at least the good-looking stuff. And it looks like that happened out there as well. Wonder if this is going to be one of those cases where some of the bigger jewelry places that all of a sudden will get the idea that maybe we are in danger here and maybe we ought to gun up. You know, I've been to places and seen some stores, jewelry stores, say in Manila, where there's a guy standing outside, and he's not just a security guard; he's an armed security guard
with a sawed-off shotgun, not just a regular shotgun.
Yes, with it's a gun, and it won't kill you right away. That's the thing about those guns; it won't kill you right away. It'll take a long time to kill you if you're gut shot with one of those things, and it will hurt the entire time. So that's what I'm saying. Anyway, 6:31 in the morning, and what do we got to do here? Headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Daily Post this morning: a jewelry shop in the heart of Tumon's tourist district reported a theft Monday after several jewelry boxes were found empty about noon. Shop owner Joyeen Ray has asked for the public's help in identifying a man and a woman captured on the store's surveillance footage. They're shown walking into the Silver Mania jewelry store just outside the lobby of the Outrigger Guam Resort. The pair kept the store's staff busy, asking about a variety of items and their prices. When they left, employees noticed missing items from some of the boxes. As of yesterday, 106 people still sheltered in the Estumbo gym in the wake of Typhoon Mangkhut. They represent about 15 families who are still looking for a place to live. Civil Defense spokeswoman Jenna Blas says most are getting on with their lives now, heading back to work, to school, and repairing their damaged homes. Guam Homeland Security and the Office of Civil Defense has taken over management of the shelter from the Dedito Mayor's office. They're working with the Guam Housing Corporation and GURA to help find new homes for the remaining families in the shelter. St. John's School in Upper Tumon has invited an internationally known Episcopal bishop to speak and the island community is welcome to come hear what he has to say. Bishop Michael Curry is the head of the Episcopal Church of the United States, and he won international acclaim for the sermon he gave during this past May's wedding of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle in London. Bishop Curry spoke passionately about the power of love at that ceremony. He also talked about his struggle with prostate cancer and the treatment he's receiving to overcome it. St. John says the subject of Bishop Curry's address here on Guam will be on diversity. He's scheduled to speak in the school's gymnasium this coming Sunday, September 30th at 6 p.m. Contact St. John's for further details. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
We'll do 6:34 in the morning, 888-8255. That's one set of numbers, and use that to call iConnect this morning and find out why they are the practical choice. They've got incredible deals for you on things like mobile and internet, even push-to-talk plans. Again, the number is 888-8888.
Cavo Select Care continues to provide great benefits for GovGuam with affordable rates. Get free access to our gym partners. Earn up to $300 with our gym fitness rewards. Earn up to $200 with our wellness rewards. Choose from a wider selection of medical providers on Guam and off island. With all of these benefits, staying with Cavo Select Care is that much easier. GovGuam employees and retirees, enroll today.
What do I need to tell you about? Oh, eating at Wendy's. I love this. They got a new salad there that has got, it says, it delivers on all the flavors of fall. It basically delivers on all of the flavors, period. Check this, the new Harvest Chicken Salad at Wendy's. Fresh cut lettuce, crisp red and green apples, dried cranberries, and the perfect combination of applewood smoked bacon and crumbled feta cheese. And if you're thinking, wow, that is a lot of flavors, hold on. Let me toss in a couple more. Apple cider vinaigrette dressing and brown sugar roasted walnuts. This fall for the new Harvest Chicken Salad from Wendy's. Now that's better.
We get it. Gas and utility rates keep rising with no end in sight. But with Double Play from GTA, you can get an extra sweet deal that'll save you extra cash. Sign up today and get 50 megabits per second with fiber home internet, unlimited talk and text, plus 25 gigabytes of wireless data. And new customers get the first month free with no contract. Save over $500 in the first year and get extra with Double Play from GTA. Conditions apply. Visit gta.net for more details.
All right, where's everybody going this morning? It looks like I got a line of traffic leaning into Big Navy down Sumai Way, and traffic moving from the Pago Bridge up to the intersection beginning to build up just a little bit here this morning. It looks like might be something happening in the Tumon area. Is that right? No. I'm sorry. Chicken Joy intersection. Everything on the map looks the same. From the Chicken Joy intersection all the way up to the intersection of 1 and 3. Just a little bit of traffic there. But right now, I think everything is going to be smooth sailing for a little bit. That's right now traffic here on The Point.
Grilled salmon, petite sirloin. Can't decide.
What are you doing?
Making my top 10 list of favorite dishes at Ruby Tuesday.
You really need to get a hobby.
But I can't decide. There's no way I can narrow down so many classic dishes to just 10.
Then it's a good thing Ruby Tuesday did it for you.
It's the all-time favorites menu at Ruby Tuesday Guam. We took our most popular dishes and put them on one great menu for only $14.99. Hickory pork chop, Parmesan shrimp pasta, prime loco moco. 10 top sellers at one great price. Pick your favorite for a limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
Ray Gibson brings you closer to the action. Morning talk that matters. Call now. 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Say it like Alicia Bridges. Action. Taking you closer to the action, and I'm going to do everything I can today to find some action that we can play around with. I mean, they get there, what is it, 3.5 more hours to kill before I can split? All right, so my job is all ahead of me. I want to say good morning to pretty Ashley Calvo Rodriguez, and there's Andre Bainham, Mary Park, and Frank Santos. Good to have you guys all lurking around. Jenny Shimizu, Michelle Peer, who's Annie Moore, my favorite artist, and Melanie Mendiola is out there as well, watching on the Facebook Live here. Joe sent me something on the messenger, so I'm going to be distracted by that here in just a second. Did I already tell you about my first world problems? Did it tell you about my? No, it's I've got this watch. See, it's a Garmin watch, right? So I use this when I run, so it helps me train, tells me how fast to go or slow I'm going, and how many miles and what my pace is, and all of that stuff. But every once in a while, I'll desperately need to know what time it is. Like when I need to tell you what time it is on the radio, and I'll look at my watch, and it will tell me that Joe sent me a note on Messenger, and I'm going, okay, never mind that. Get rid of that because I want to see. And that's kind of a concern that I have. I've been threatened. For I don't know since I went from an Apple to a Samsung years ago. I've threatened many times to go back to Apple and use Apple as my primary telephone device. This is a Samsung Note 8, and I'm absolutely delighted with it. But what happens is it'll get to be this time of year. Your Septembers and Octobers, and then the Apple guys start pushing out new Apple technology, including a brand new Apple Watch. And I think we're up to like version 4 of the Apple Watch now, right? Have you seen those things? Dude, this is Dick Tracy technology, Kev. What do you mean? You're not interested at all in being able to take and receive messages and control your playlist? This thing got
it all right here.
It's almost medical gear now. It's almost medical grade gear. They've got an EKG machine that's on the Apple Watch, right? And you might need that in the rare event you
Don't
actually
wear
get
a watch anymore.
in the rare
It's
event you
all right
actually get
here.
excited about something. You maybe like to see what's happening with your heart. I just noticed that you're not wearing a watch.
No.
How long has that been?
Years.
Huh?
Yeah.
So you just
I mean,
it's on the
all
phone.
right here. Yeah. Everything you need. Why duplicate?
I guess. All right. But anyway, so I'm playing around with the topic because there's a couple of things that are happening around here, and I might know a guy at Beyond the Box that can hook me up with one of the new phones and the watch that goes with it. Because when it happens, I want to be able to tell you how incredible the technology is. So do me a favor, don't buy them all when they start opening the doors over at Beyond the Box for all of that. Nick Perlowski writing this morning. Remember before gun grab, there was gavel grab, which means Ray likes to grab things. Yeah, we all remember that. Can I just? Before I get there's somebody waiting for me, Jimmy. Really? You sure? There's something else that I want to play around with here that's very, very annoying. So I was asking Kevin about the legislative agenda. When are they going back into session?
Monday.
They're going back into session, and the agenda is out. And this, can I just say, this is error by omission. And I need to talk to somebody over at the legislature, probably Regine, the chairperson on the Committee on Rules, because they have, as they do oftentimes, they've sent out the session agenda. And here's what they're going to be talking about. Bill 28-34 is amended by the Committee on Environment, Land, Agriculture, and Procurement Reform. Tom Atta. Bill number 127-34, Dennis Rodriguez Jr., Joe St. Augustine. They're not telling you what the bills are, so you got to go dig it out yourself. And I'm going, there's somebody that we're paying $25 an hour at the legislature that could have gone and said 28-34 is this bill. And 127-34 is that bill. Instead of making it so the taxpayers have to do that translation themselves.
When BJ was there.
Places are just going down the crapper ever since he's in the 2 weeks that he's been the public auditor. All of a sudden, and no, they do. There's other places that they do this, and I gotta say this should be my rant this morning. It's not going to be. So we got Bill 128, 129, 130, 214, 219, 267. See, do you see how completely unhelpful that is? Yeah. So Regine, I know you're listening. Do me a favor and have somebody go out there and put the splains on what the bills are so that people that are interested, I don't know, in the way their government works and what some of the cockamamie laws are that are being considered for legislation, for action by the legislature, so that we might have an opportunity to tune in on the legislative channel as these bills come up so we can see which people we're not going to be voting for. That was a little direct, wasn't it? Okay. Well, I'm just saying that's as Sister would say, that's the lazy way to do it, and we don't want anybody to be lazy at $25 an hour.
But the one you're interested in, 302, is Luis Munoz bill.
302, yes, and so that's down there.
Home cultivation of medicinal cannabis.
All right, and it's a fairly and you know what? Thankfully, Louise, and I'm sorry I didn't make your fundraiser last night. I got a better offer. Thankfully it's short and sweet. What it provides is for people to be able to cultivate their own marijuana based on a caregiver or based on a doctor's recommendation that this might be of some kind of medicinal or therapeutic value. So you'd have to pay an application fee. You'd have to fill out an application and then identify a designated caregiver. The patient or caregiver is authorized to grow cannabis for medicinal purposes subject to the following conditions: that the patient possesses no more than 3 flowering mature plants and 6 juvenile plants at any given times. Cannabis plants must be cultivated indoors and not be visible from any public location or in outdoor areas secured by a locked gate that is not visible from any public location or neighbors, because we don't want the neighbors getting into your stash. The department may inspect the area where cannabis is cultivated at any time, and a caregiver may cultivate cannabis on behalf of the patient in the event that the patient is unable to cultivate cannabis. Harvested cannabis must be stored in a secured area not accessible to persons other than the patient or patient's caregiver. Shall not be cultivated in the common areas of any multifamily complex. You got to think of everything. Yeah, because they'll never get mature. Somebody will go and swipe them just as they're beginning to bud up. Medical cannabis may be grown only at one of the following locations: the residence of the qualifying patients or the designated caregiver, or another site that is either owned or controlled by either of the two. And there's a few other things. Charge $15 a year, something like that. The department may revoke a permit, yada, yada, yada. And it would be effective on the date of the enactment. And so here's... Is this the easy way into recreational marijuana? Would it not be about the easiest thing in the world for the legislature? Many incumbents, I'm sure, looking for an easier road to the 35th Guam legislature to do exactly as has been done up in Saipan, where they just go, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do like Saipan, and we're going to change this, and instead of making it medicinal, we'll just take a copy of what they did up in Saipan and cut and paste one with the other. Would that be an all right thing? Do you suppose it would help get people reelected? Do you suppose?
I think that makes entirely too much sense for GovGuam.
But no, because we could take this. I mean, we send this over to Adelup, and then the governor can go off island and let Ray sign it, and give Ray.
I'd get him. That would get him some votes, you know.
Right? Maybe that would help
just
people.
saying.
Maybe people would forget a certain incident that happened in July, and the recent hubbub and hullabaloo that has taken place since then. Just riffing off the top of my head, and amazingly was able to do it without any kind of distracting thought. We were talking about that yesterday. And somebody said that's why women love listening to the program, because they completely get when you go off on your different Ray tangents, where you'll start a conversation on one subject, one topic, and then before you know it, I've finished the hour. I'm somewhere else on a completely different one. And she said, chicks dig that kind of thing. 6:46 in the morning. 888-8255 is the telephone number. There are a few items on the table of contents, and again, a reminder: you should check your mail, because there are, as Ed McMahon used to say, millions of dollars in the mail. Yeah, and maybe home service. Maybe you've got to go and take your chances in a parking lot near a post office. But it might be worth it. Could be a tax refund check in the mail for you. We hope. I got my fingers crossed, because, it's the holidays are coming up, and everybody got some bills to pay over the summertime, and Manghut bills that they need to cover up for, and so I hope that there's a couple of bucks in the deal for you. It's always nice, isn't it, when you pick up the mail and you thumb through it and you realize that somebody has sent you a check, and it's always nice when it's unexpected. There was a story that I wanted to riff on yesterday, but it was so far down in the table of contents, I wasn't able to get to it until the end of the program. So for the folks that might have heard the beginning of this yesterday, I'll kind of apologize in advance. It's just that I need to get it off my chest a little bit more thoroughly, a little bit more completely. The Department of Education is in between cleaning contracts. They've got a cleaning contract that had gone out for bid, and unfortunately, there's been, as is the case with just about everything that goes out for bid in the government of Guam, somebody is protesting this. Imagine that. And so the problem is that they need to have some kind of service in the beginning of the fiscal year, which is next week, Monday. And I don't know if that's going to happen. So I think John Fernandez is rolling around trying to figure out what might be a good solution to maintain the cleanliness, relative cleanliness of the schools until there is some kind of a contract. And so he's talking about maybe staff having to pick up some brooms and mops and feather dusters and that kind of thing. And I'm of the opinion, John Fernandez, and I think I've mentioned this more than a couple of times, I am of the opinion that what you need to do is to give the brooms and the mops and the feather dusters to the children. Let the kids handle this. It won't kill them. It won't hurt them. And the ramifications are that the kids, I think, will have a sense of ownership over the schools. and just say, this is the way we're doing it now.
Well, not only that, but they'll grow up to have good, clean habits.
They'll know how to sweep a floor. They'll know how to wash the floor, mop the sink.
Walk in some of these young people's homes these days, and they don't know how
Oh,
to
you
do
don't want
that.
to see pictures of my place. I'll tell you that right now. It's 6:49. Even though I did have the privilege of growing up with nuns that handed me things to clean with at the end of the day, and
Bucket in one hand, ruler in the other.
make the assignments, go bang the erasers against the board. Somebody, here's the sponge, wet it down, and clean off the blackboard. We still use blackboards now in the schools, right? I mean, that's still kind of a thing. The point is that I don't think there needs to be such a thing as a free education and a free meal, the free meals that these kids get. In my mind, if you have a chance to give them an opportunity to pay the community back for the incredible hand that they are given at the Department of Education, I think we ought to explore that. I think we really ought to explore that kind of thing. And you don't have to make it so the same kids do the same work every day. I mean, the same way that parents have been assigning kids chores for centuries, teachers can assign chores to the kids in the classrooms. I'd like to see at least a pilot of something like that working and see if there's a way that the taxpayers don't have to pay to keep the classrooms clean if we've got all of these idle hands in the classroom the last 5 minutes of the instructional day that might be able to do the work. 10 away from 7 o'clock in the morning. The Ray Gibson Show continues now. Jane Flores from the Guam Community College, and I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about a veterans deal that's coming up today on the campus. Good morning, Jane.
Hey, good morning.
Is that I'm all right. Is that today? I printed it out. Yeah, September 26th.
Yes, it is Wednesday, September 26th. Tonight from 6 to 9 p.m. in our multi-purpose auditorium.
All right. If you are a veteran or there's a veteran in your family or among your loved ones, it's an incredible workshop that is being put together by the Department of Veterans Affairs itself, and they're doing it at GCC. What do you know about this workshop, Jane?
Well, we've had several of these in the past that have been sponsored by our student veteran organization. This one is sponsored by the Department of Veterans Affairs, and I know that the turnout is very high at these, and we want veterans to come because we're just sponsoring it. The DVA is doing everything, but I do know that the benefits and the claims for veterans, it's a very cumbersome process. And so they need a lot of assistance in filling these forms out. Mm-hmm. So the topics that are going to be covered are VA compensation and pension benefits, vocational rehabilitation and employment, loan guarantee, education, burial and survivor benefits, and they are going to have counselors available to answer questions and actually assist the veterans with these claims processes. So veterans, family members, survivors of the veterans who need benefits, and the community providers will be there also. So it's 6 to 9 o'clock, and we usually get a pretty good turnout. So we just wanted all veterans and their survivors, family members to know about this and come tonight to our MPA, which is Building 400. It's the building that's attached to the culinary kitchen.
Gotcha. And there's enough nice people walking around the campus most times. If you get lost, somebody, as was the case, I attended a workshop at GCC a few weeks ago, and somebody took a picture of the building and said this is where it's at. And you'd think, armed with an actual picture of the actual building I was supposed to go to, I'd be able to find it like a magnet. But it didn't quite work out. And thank goodness that there was some nice people walking around that I was able to ask and say, "Where's this?" And they pointed me in the right direction. So if you get lost, somebody will help you. There's something else I wanted to give you an opportunity to crow about. But yesterday, kind of the launch of your high-tech program with GCC in the schools.
Yes, we actually were at Tietzen High School yesterday. Tietzen is the school where we have launched our telecommunications program, and it is an effort that was actually started germinated in the Chamber of Commerce's Silicon Village initiative, and we took that. Dr. Mary Okada took that. She, went to the advisory committee, which is each of GCC's majors has an advisory committee made up of industry professionals that tell us, okay, this is what we're going to need when your students graduate. This is what we're going to need them to do when they come out of school, so that we are teaching what industry needs. And so they put together this telecommunications program to it's going to coordinate with our computer science associate degree. So students in high school who take this program, and if they complete all of the components, when they graduate from high school, they will already have 19 credits toward an associate degree in computer science at GCC. And it was a really great launch because we had all of the big guns from GTA, Docomo, IT&E there, and I told.
Hey, next time, make sure that I can pass along an invitation to my guys over at Choice Phone.
I sure will.
Appreciate it. Yeah, because I'm sure that I have a sense that this thing might be coveted by some of the other schools, and perhaps there are going to be other opportunities for other students from other campuses to get involved.
Well, no, we are going to spread this telecom program to other schools.
Good.
It just started in Teton. This is where it started, and we have now 12 CTE career and technical education programs that are in the 6 public high schools to varying degrees, depending on space, depending on equipment, things like that. Sometimes, for example, I think ProStart is not at Southern right now because something with the kitchen facility or something.
You let me know if you got something happening over at JFK, because that's 20 steps away from this building here, and we've got a number of very, very bright guys, and I'm sure it'd be a pleasure for them to be able to share their knowledge with some students that are like-minded, because frankly they've taught me a whole lot in the last couple of years while I've been here. At any rate, so that's kind of a big deal. Are the classes full now at Teton? Do we already have?
We have 85 students in these programs.
Oh, wow.
Which, yeah. And, because it is the first year, there are some seniors there, so obviously they will not be available, they'll not be able to get the 19 credits. But if you start in sophomore year and you go sophomore through senior year and you get a B or better in each of your courses that you take, and then there's a 180-hour work experience component where you work, at after school or in the summers at one of these companies, you work for free, but you get 1 high school credit toward graduation.
Right.
So that's what your payment is. And a lot of times what we're seeing with these students is that the companies where they do the work experience, they're such good employees. They learn how to be good employees. They learn to show up on time. They learn, customer service kinds of things. And the employers like them so much that they keep them on and pay them part-time while they're going to school at GCC.
Yeah,
so we've experienced that too. So it really is a really great partnership between GDOE, GCC, the business community, and even UOG, because then once, if the students want to go on, like if you get an associate degree in computer science and you want to go on, then you go over to UOG.
Absolutely. I completely get it, and I'm completely wild about it, and looking for opportunities to be able to participate. Jane, thanks very much for the time. Again, the reason for the telephone call was a notice for veterans that there is going to be a benefits workshops claims clinic. It's too bad they can't make the forms in the process just easy, so we wouldn't have to have workshops for it, but GCC...
Well, that's not our department.
Yeah, I know it's not your department. Maybe that ought to be a thing. So just take a look at the claims paperwork and go, do we really need to have all of these fields filled out? 6 until 9 tonight at GCC in the multipurpose auditorium.
Tell people, if you're going to go there, the easiest way to go into Building 400 is to go in on the GW side of campus.
Yep.
Go all the way, toward the back, past the construction, and go up that little jog and park in that parking lot, and then just go down the steps or down the ramp, and that's Building 400 right there, that first building on your left.
And as usual, when somebody orally gives me directions to something, you lost me right after. Park on the GW side. Jane, I'll see you pretty soon.
All right, thanks.
You
Okay,
have a
take care,
fantastic
everyone.
day. It's closing in on 7 o'clock in the morning. This is the Ray Gibson Show until it's not going to be anymore. And I got a number of other public notices that we might want to talk about here this morning, including one. I'll bring this up again when it gets to be sports time, but I've got a clipping this morning of the burial announcement, the arrangements for Marsh. That's what we called him, Mr. Marsh, in many cases. Gaynell Bob Marsh, who passed away recently at the age of 75. His memorial service will be held tomorrow from 3 until 6 at the Calvary Baptist Church in Upper Tumont. In lieu of flowers, those wishing to honor his memory are asked to bring donations of food, clothing, and linens for Typhoon Mangkhut relief. And then at the bottom of the announcement, I love this, and it is so completely, totally Marsh. Memorial service attire, casual wear, or a T-shirt with a humorous saying. Try to wear something that you think would make Marsh laugh. And he had one of the easiest laughs in the whole wide world, and an easy smile. And he is definitely going to be missed. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. 7 o'clock in the morning, the radio station is KUSG Hagutnya. This is the headquarters for Fox News Live. On the other side of that, we'll find out what the big stories are from Kevin Kerrigan in the Guam Daily Post. Jerry Roberts might be meandering into the studio this morning for a live version of The Extra Point, and who knows what else we're going to be talking about in the next hour. Stick around, Brown. Guaranteed it'll be fun.
Judgment Day for Bill Cosby. Lisa Brady, Fox News. That's how an attorney for some of his accusers describes today's sentence, 3 to 10 years in state prison in the only criminal case against Cosby for sexual misconduct. Fox's Gernal Scott live at the courthouse in Norristown.
Lisa, for more than 2 years, Montgomery County DA Kevin Steele pursued this case through depositions and a deadlocked jury. In comments after Bill Cosby's sentencing, he says this entertainer was revealed.
He used his acting skills and that endearing TV personality to win over his victims and then keep them silent about what he did to them. So now finally, Bill Cosby has been unmasked.
Cosby's accuser, Andrea Constance, stood with the district attorney during his comments. Steele says he expects this case to be appealed to a superior court. Lisa.
In fact, Gernal, the defense says it will prove evidence was tainted.
These egregious injustices must be corrected.
Cosby spokeswoman Ebony Benson says it wasn't a fair trial. President Trump rejecting the ideology of globalism in his speech to other world leaders at the UN, where he also embraced patriotism and defended his America First policies.
We are standing up for America and for the American people. And we are also standing up for the world.
The French president, meantime, said our children are watching, urging against isolationism. Iran's president railing against extreme nationalism and racism after President Trump called the regime a corrupt dictatorship that sows chaos and destruction. More rain in the Carolinas, where the fallout from Hurricane Florence continues. In Jones County, North Carolina, officials announcing 2 of their 6 schools will have to be demolished because of water damage. A new school was already under construction. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Grilled salmon, petite sirloin. Can't decide.
What are you doing?
Making my top 10 list of favorite dishes at Ruby Tuesday.
You really need to get a hobby.
But I can't decide. There's no way I can narrow down so many classic dishes to just 10.
Then it's a good thing Ruby Tuesday did it for you.
It's the all-time favorites menu at Ruby Tuesday Guam. We took our most popular dishes and put them on one great menu for only $14.99. Hickory pork chop, Parmesan shrimp pasta, prime loco moco, 10 top sellers at one great price. Pick your favorite for a limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
Morrico Equipment on Ipoh Road has been around a while. 28 years on Guam, in fact. 28 long years of dealing with Gov Guam, persevering through typhoons, earthquakes, the U.S. military, boony dogs, boony grass, off-island, on-island, old Marine Corps drive, destructive winds, and dangerous surf. So they know a bit about equipment on Guam. Lucky for us, the employees who work at Morrico Equipment also own Morrico Equipment because they're very proud of what they do. Call 649-1946 or click morricoequipment.com.
Opinion.
A lot of questions about the questions for this week's planned Senate hearing with a Supreme Court nominee and one of the 2 women accusing him of sexual misconduct.
Judiciary Committee Democrat Dick Durbin says he wants to be prepared for the Thursday hearing with Judge Brett Kavanaugh and Professor Christine Blasey Ford, but
I don't know if I'm going to be asking questions or if there'll be 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 or 10. Makes a big difference.
Committee Republican Lindsey Graham says it makes sense for lawmakers to defer to an outside attorney to ask questions of Kavanaugh and Ford.
If you've ever been a lawyer, you don't get 5 minutes to ask questions of key witnesses. That's the Senate deal because there's so many of us.
An attorney for Ford complains an experienced sex crimes prosecutor hired to ask questions has not yet been identified. On Capitol Hill, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Bill Cosby's star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame isn't going anywhere. The Hollywood Chamber of Commerce just releasing a statement calling it regrettable when the personal lives of inductees don't measure up to public standards and expectations, but they say they do not remove stars from the Walk of Fame. Dunkin' Donuts dropping the Donuts name.
The company will officially be called Dunkin' starting in January to reflect its increasing focus on coffee and other drinks. Dunkin' will start appearing on napkins and boxes and signs at its U.S. stores, with the name change eventually adopted by international stores. Its name will change, but the logo, which the company has used since 1973, will stay the same. The 68-year-old company says the name change is one of several things it's doing to stay relevant to younger customers. In addition, Dunkin' is also simplifying its menu and adding dedicated mobile ordering lanes. Dunkin' has more than 12,000 stores around the globe. Hillary Barsky, Fox News.
They've been using the slogan America runs on Dunkin' since 2006. It was a mixed day on Wall Street, the Dow dropping 69 points. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News Radio.
Are high power bills sending your budget into chaos? Take control with the help of Micronesia Renewable Energy. Using the highest quality panels, a solar energy system from MRE will guarantee to save you money on power. With MRE, Christmas starts in September. With every solar energy system, homeowners not only get $400 for signing up, but also an entry for a chance to win $1,000 in cold, hard cash, just in time for Christmas. It pays to be an MRE customer. Conditions apply. Call 632-2613 for details. MRE, the smarter choice.
Calvo Select Care continues to provide great benefits for GovGuam with affordable rates. Get free access to our gym partners. Earn up to $300 with our gym fitness rewards. Earn up to $200 with our wellness rewards. Choose from a wider selection of medical providers on Guam and off island. With all of these benefits, staying with Calvo Select Care is that much easier. GovGuam employees and retirees, enroll today.
Get a 20-ounce stainless steel Circle K Coffee Club tumbler. Just stop into any Circle K, sign up for our Power Pass rewards program, and after your purchase of 15 cups of premium coffee, any size, you get your tumbler for free. While supplies last, conditions apply. See store for details. Get a 20-ounce stainless steel Circle K Coffee Club tumbler. Just swipe your Power Pass key fob when you purchase Circle K Premium Coffee, any size. And after 15 cups, you'll get your tumbler for free. While supplies last, conditions apply. See store for details.
Taste the sizzle at Chili's with our new fajita flavors. Our signature fajitas are served with sliced bell peppers, caramelized onions, topped with chipotle garlic butter, and chopped cilantro. Build your fajita with over 16 ounces of tender grilled chicken, juicy steak, and a dozen pieces of seasoned grilled shrimp in the family fajita trio. All served with warm flour tortillas and fresh toppings like mixed cheese, guacamole, salsa, and pico de gallo. Experience bold, sizzling fajita flavors only at Chili's. More life happens here.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 7 a.m. this Wednesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The Department of Administration has agreed to grant Calvo Select Care a roughly 2.6% increase in the premiums it charges for health insurance for GovGuam employees and retirees in the coming year. Leonora Candasso, a personnel specialist at DOA, explained that the increase was granted to compensate Select Care for the expiration of the company's tax exemption that it currently has under the Qualifying Certificate Program. When Select Care's QC expires in April of next year, they'll be subject to the 5% business privilege tax. Select Care Plan Administrator Frank Campillo telling the Post that the 5% BPT was significant enough that they had to ask for some relief. Select Care and Take Care are the only two remaining providers of health insurance for GovGuam after Netcare pulled out last month, citing GovGuam's failure to timely pay premiums. Take Care is not increasing its rates at this time because the tax exemption that it enjoys under the same QC program doesn't expire until January of 2021. Open enrollment for the health plans being offered by the two providers began last week on Monday. It ends this Friday. The insurance plans selected by GovGuam members during this 2-week period will take effect next Monday. A week ahead of Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio's first scheduled court appearance, the clerk of the Superior Court still searching for a judge to hear the case against Tenorio. The lieutenant governor is facing misdemeanor reckless conduct allegations in connection with a July 7th gun-grabbing incident at a barbecue block party in Tumon. Judge Michael Bordallo yesterday, the latest to file a disqualification notice. He cited the involvement of his brother and sister-in-law in support of Lou Leon Guerrero, the Democratic gubernatorial nominee running against Tenorio, who's a Republican candidate for governor of Guam. Bordallo is the fourth of the Superior Court's 7 trial judges to decline to hear the case. On Monday, Judge Maria Senzon cited her personal and professional relationship with the lieutenant governor when she declined to hear the case. Last week, Judge Arthur Barcenas disqualified himself, saying he's a close family friend of Tenorio. And Judge Anita Sicola also bowed out, saying Tenorio was once her student. The case has been assigned now to presiding Judge Alberto Lamarena. If he recuses himself, the court clerk will then have to turn to either Judge Vern Perez or Judge Elise Iriarte. Tenorio is scheduled to make his first court appearance next week on Wednesday before Magistrate Judge Benjamin Sisson. His attorney, Tom Fisher, said he's taken the case to trial and he's confident Tenorio will be acquitted. We'll have more news after this.
Attention GovGuam employees. Open enrollment for GovGuam health insurance plans begins on September 17 through the 28th. With a wide range of healthcare offerings, Take Care's benefit plans allow members access to more than 120 medical providers, 40 dental providers, and 20 pharmacies in the region. Get access to 19 fitness partners, including the largest fully functioning fitness center in Hagåtña and Dedido. As Guam's leading healthcare provider, our commitment to your health has never been stronger. Take Care. Our island, your health plan.
The first ever of anything is always special. That's why we're excited about the first ever 2018 Nissan Kicks. The Kicks kicks things up with best-in-class MPG, standard safety technology with automatic emergency braking system, and best-in-class cargo space to meet any lifestyle. Upgrades kicks things up with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and Bose driver headrest speakers. Over 1.4 million colorful options means your Kicks can be a first ever of its kind. The Kicks starts at under $20,000. Visit Nissan Guam for a test drive today. Nissan, innovation that excites.
12 minutes past 7 a.m. here at The Point. As of yesterday, 106 people were still sheltered in the Estumbo gym in Dedido in the wake of Typhoon Mangkhut. They represent about 15 families who are still looking for a place to live. Civil Defense spokeswoman Jenna Blas says most are getting on with their lives now, heading back to work, to school, and repairing their damaged homes. Guam Homeland Security and the Office of Civil Defense has taken over management of the shelter from Dedido Mayor, the mayor's office. They're working with the Guam Housing Corporation and GURA to help find new homes for the remaining families in that shelter. St. John's School in Upper Tumon has invited an internationally known Episcopal bishop to speak, and the island community is welcome to come hear what he has to say. Bishop Michael Curry is the head of the Episcopal Church of the United States. He won some international acclaim earlier this year for the sermon he delivered at the wedding of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle in London. Bishop Curry spoke passionately about the power of love. He also talked about his struggle with prostate cancer and the treatment he's getting to overcome it. St. John says that the subject of Bishop Curry's address here on Guam will be on diversity. He's scheduled to speak in the school's gymnasium this coming Sunday, September 30th at 6 p.m. Contact St. John's for further details. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or Pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike with weather.
The partly sunny skies, isolated showers becoming scattered with isolated thunderstorms mid-morning. Light and variable winds becoming westerly, 5 to 10 miles an hour this afternoon. Highs around 88 degrees with a max afternoon heat index around 101 hot degrees. Overnight lows a little cooler, 78 degrees. Watching the sunset tomorrow morning about 10 after 6 sunrise. Sunrise tomorrow morning at 6:10. Sunset tonight about quarter after 6 o'clock in the evening. Getting earlier with the sunset and getting earlier with the sunrise in the morning. I'm catching that. Was walking by the door here today just before the start of the program. I said, "Hey, it's already bright outside. It's nice. Gray line's coming in."
Yeah, it's the days are getting shorter. That's how we do.
Okay, so explain to me again why we don't know whether there's going to be a typhoon on Saturday.
Too many variables.
In a nutshell, huh?
Pretty much.
All right. So the thing is not moving. It's moving, but it's not moving.
Well, from what Ken described earlier,
developing, but it's not really developing.
Yeah, from what Ken described earlier, it's actually moving what we'd call retrograde. It moved south, and that's why I asked him about this system in the south that they mentioned
You think
in their
maybe
forecast
there might
discussion.
be a little bit of interaction?
There may be, and then there can be. It's not, and as Ken mentioned, it's northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere. They're really not related. But when you get that close, this system very close to the equator, the one in the southern hemisphere as well, so it could be stealing some moisture and energy, maybe pulling it down just a little bit. I mean, that sort of thing happens.
Is that what you guys called the Fujiwara interaction?
That is to some degree a Fujiwara interaction, but a Fujiwara interaction usually, almost always, has to occur between two organized systems. Once that low closes, then you get more of an influence. But two weak systems, equally weak as these two are, could have a Fujiwara interaction.
7:15. We'll watch and see what happens. And that's the thing. We will watch and see what happens. You do me a favor and maintain a weather eye, they call it. Maintain some kind of connection between yourself and your preparation plans and us members of the media. That we get paid to keep an eye on satellites and radars and weather websites and things like that. So if it begins to look like you need to start prepping, we'll let you know in plenty of time.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're going to be kind of flying blind on this one. They said the motor is broken on the radar, and it's out till further notice, and I'm sure that's going to be well into next week. So
Let's get another one.
I'm just going to stand on the roof.
Can we just
stand on the roof with my telescope?
Do they have that?
Coming.
Do they have that at Home Depot? Can we just go? Did they call the guy at Benson? We just need a motor for the gizmo. Just
Generally, the best forecast just to stand on the roof and look and see it. It's coming.
Yeah, finger up in the air.
Yeah, what a finger.
I got you. 7:16 in the morning. It's the news and weather together here on The Point.
Don't wait another day and waste another dollar. You can start saving today. At Guahan Insurance Services, we are here to help protect your investment and save you money. We offer insurance advising for business, car, and home insurance. So come and visit us at our new office at Camacho Landmark Center at Marine Corps Drive in Timoning, and let us show you that you can count on us for all your insurance needs. Call 475-1162.
What? Portions of the program brought to you by King's Restaurant. Middle of the week, and the middle of the week special is pork sinigang. And maybe you've already got a lunch plan for today. Maybe you've already decided, pork sinigang sounds good, but I got a thing. So here's what tomorrow, meatloaf. Make that your plan. How about Friday? We got beef tinaktak happening over at King's. So put that in your plans for the next couple of days and make sure you go and enjoy some good food.
UFC 229 on Sunday, October 7th. The notorious Conor McGregor returns to retake the UFC lightweight title from unbeaten champion Khabib Nurmagomedov in the main event of UFC 229. Pre-show starts at 10 a.m. and the fight starts at noon. Use your remote or call 688-CARE to order this pay-per-view event on Channel 401 or in HD on Channel 402. UFC 229 on Docomo Pacific is brought to you by TGI Fridays.
7:17 portions of the program also brought to you by First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes.
Honolulu, Seattle, LA, Vegas, Chicago, New York. With your First Hawaiian Bank United Mileage Plus credit card, you can save 10% on United flights to these great cities and anywhere else in the U.S. Book your tickets at the United City Ticket Office, talk to your travel agent, or go to united.com and use promo code FHB18 FHB18U. Visit FHB.com/United Fair Sale 18 for offer details and restrictions. Terms and conditions apply. First Hawaiian Bank, member FDIC.
Ouch. Oh, boy. I'm sorry. Just looking at the numbers for Tapas here. 7:18 in the morning. Portions of the program brought to you by Micronesia Renewable Energy. And as the price of oil goes up, solar is looking really, really sexy. Also brought to you by American President Lines. APL is shipping the future. American WaterTech, smarter water, better water. Talking to them now about a whole house water filtration system. And you'd be surprised how quickly, easily, and inexpensively you can put one of those things together with a quick phone call to American WaterTech and Guam Regional Medical City. First choice for all of your open heart surgery needs.
The Ray Gibson Show. News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out. Turn it up. Now tell a friend.
Yeah. Raymond Gibson Show. Happy to see a bunch of friendly faces and friendly names online. Albert Elias and Jennifer Louise Dula, Odessa Manley, Ekfadzi Palacios, Renee Ogo says, I'm watching. You know what? Thank you so much, Renee. That gets a Valentine's like back from me. Desiree Braga, Vetibana, it's nice to see you there. Good morning to you. Paris Mendiola Blas, we'll always have Paris. Denise Mendiola, Debbie Wise, Jerry Roberts, Keith Parsky. Lady D is there. Vivian Sablan, Leon Guerrero, half a day. It's nice to have everybody on the Facebook Live chiming in. We were talking about the Department of Education, and for me, the desire to help them save money. And not have to necessarily outsource every single thing, i.e. cleaning. I mean, now I get it. That there probably needs to be some great big school cleaning things that need to get done by a big contracted cleaning service. But hey, if we're just talking about sweeping the halls and emptying the trash and cleaning erasers and wiping down chalkboards and stuff, let the kids do that. And maybe even some of the other stuff. I mean, when Kelly, I want to say when we were at St. Anthony School, there was the only thing that the students didn't do was wax the floor. You know, because they you remember those, and I don't think they've changed at all since the 1950s. You know, those big floor gizmos with the massive motor on top of them, and they get the thing that polishes, and they move counterintuitively to the way you think they're supposed to move. Yeah. You need a degree to work one of those things, but that was the only thing I want to say that that the maintenance guy did that the students couldn't do. Unless you were Mike. I think there was a Mike that I went to school with. That he was a husky boy, and Michael could wrangle one of those machines. So he knew, and his mom worked at the school, so you know he was kind of almost obligated to be able to do that. Elwin is chiming in on that subject. He says, "Yeah, students do that in Japan, but this is Guam, and the rate of liability is too high. Should a child get injured while cleaning a classroom?" Michael, could you please identify as quickly as you possibly can and off the top of your head the nature of an injury that a child might get and endure while cleaning a classroom?
Let's say they're washing a window and suddenly they fall off the chair and fall through the window.
Really?
You can get the crap suit out of you for that.
The government is, besides, he says, the government is responsible for those specific tasks, contract or not. Ask Bob Klitsky. He knows what environments are required in the Department of Education. Kevin, were you ever injured in the process of conducting some kind of house cleaning?
No. It seems like they ought to be able to sign some release, or to exempt them.
Or just be like me. Don't let the clumsy kid do stuff.
Yeah, it's perfectly reasonable to ask students to help clean up. Huh?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know to what degree it's done now. I just my presumption is that nobody has the temerity to ask any kid to do or not do something in the school. Like, please don't run across the street from John F. Kennedy to Kmart in the middle of the day. Never ever going to ask those kids to not do something like take their life into their own hands. We'll build this ugly, god awful, but ugly chain link fence there. But I digress because it's already 7:22 and I'm supposed to told you about what?
They had to build a fence because nobody follows rules anymore, Ray.
Well, they build a fence because nobody wanted to enforce a rule, like don't run
That
across
too.
the street in the middle of traffic. What are you, stupid or something? Why do we have to build that thing instead of just having somebody standing around outside saying, hey, knock that off?
Did you like Frogger?
Who?
Back in the day, Frogger.
Frogger,
The game.
the video game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so
that
real life
explains
version
it
of
all right there.
And I'm sorry, I digress. It's one of those things. So let's take a look at what happened in the market, shall we? 26,492. The Dow still off, lost another 70 points here this morning. But as far as I'm concerned, it's not that big of a deal because it's a really, really small nothing of a percentage. And we're still banging over 26,000. That's good. NASDAQ in the green by 14 points, 8,007. The S&P 500, 29.15. They lost about 3, maybe 4 points on trading today. What have we got here? Democrat Nelson holds edge in Florida Senate race while Gilliam leads in the governor's contest. We'll take a look at some of the politics that are taking place outside of our own borders here in the region. And what are we doing on West Texas crude? Still high, expensive and ugly. Oil trading today at 72.08. That's the stateside benchmark for whatever reason it is. Our benchmark around here, because it directly relates to the price of gasoline. I don't know what they're waiting for. Like I said, and I'll continue to say it, if you have gasoline in your car, and you are near E, within an eighth of a tank of Ever Ready, my suggestion is that you go and you put some gasoline in it while it is still at the relatively low price of $4.43 a gallon, because I got a feeling it's now going to be going up $82.91. Now, it wasn't that long ago that we were talking about oil, Tapis crude trading at $75 or so, kind of in that mid-range, very comfortable range, but $7, $8 higher than that right now for a barrel. I got a feeling that we're going to start feeling that over at the pump. You could drive less, but it's Guam. We don't have too many alternatives. Maybe I'll rant about that a little bit later on as well. It's 7:24 in the morning, and I think we got time for an extra point. And I don't know what happened to today, so we're going to give you a taste of yesterday's because the story of Peter Gill was that good. Here's Jerry Roberts.
What if I said every kid should start a business? I'm Jerry Roberts, and today I'm going to enlist the help of an old friend named Peter Gill to sell an idea that I feel is valuable. That's right now on the Extra Point. Peter Gill owns QuickSpace, best known for creating unique working, living, and storage solutions out of old shipping containers. Peter is one of the most engaging guys you'll ever meet, and if you ever have the chance to sit down and talk with him at length, I think it'll be a memorable experience. I've known him for a long time, and about 15 years ago, he agreed to be interviewed for the cover feature in Directions magazine. Among the topics we discussed was his getting a start in business at the age of 10. He was living in the Seychelles, a chain of 115 islands in the Indian Ocean off the eastern coast of Africa. He would leave his village and travel over 20 miles to another island to buy salted fish, then come home and sell it in the local public market. The business grew until it began affecting the local retail pricing for salted fish, and he was approached by another marketer who offered to buy all his fish as soon as he came into the village. Today, that's called a disruptive force in the market. Just before Typhoon Pamela hit in 1975, 17-year-old Peter had a conversation with then-Governor Ricky Bordallo, who told him there would be money for people who would help clean up the debris left by the storm. Peter went out and bought every chainsaw he could, a total of 6. He hired Vietnamese soldiers who had come to Guam as refugees, and he rented out the saw and a worker clearing trees all over the island. He didn't speak Vietnamese, but he and they communicated in French. He ended up making enough to pay for his first year at Marquette University. The last story about Peter took place while he was attending Father Duenas. He'd buy an old Rambler, Google it if you need to, from a military guy leaving Guam in the $200 to $300 range and sell it to another one who just arrived for $100 over what he paid. He used the school parking lot as his used car lot. Up until May of 2004, when this story was published, FD administrators never knew why there were a lot of cars still in their lot after everybody had gone home. Maybe your kid won't be another Peter Gill. Perhaps he or she will have a satisfying career working for others or the government. That's fine. Here's the thing. Experiences like those Peter had teach you several life lessons. Among them, that ingenuity and hard work can have a definite impact on your future. You quickly learn to value money and time. You learn about people, their differences, and how to effectively deal with them. That people will pay if you can get them what they need or want at a fair price. I've said it before in this broadcast space. I think every kid should start a little business, at least once. Opportunities are out there, and you just never know what might come from it. That's the Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3 and The Ray Gibson Show, I'm Jerry Roberts.
If we manage to find the one that was supposed to run today, we'll go ahead and get that one on the air. But I'm glad that I get a chance to listen to that again. That one was rolling around in my head as I was out and about doing my dad chores and my boss chores yesterday, trying to think of different mechanisms that were out there, different opportunities that maybe I'm not good enough to see yet. Maybe you need a little bit of that inspiration and the idea that maybe there are opportunities if you just look with a different pair of eyes. Something will pop up. You never know. 728, that's Jerry Roberts in today's Extra Point. If you want to see the transcripts for that and maybe get a clue as to what you might be hearing a little bit later on, check out GuamTraining.com.
If you are looking to rent trucks, forklifts, or construction equipment, including Kohler generators, then contact Morico Equipment on EPOW Road, 649-1946, or click moricoequipment.com. Box trucks, reefer trucks, freezer trucks, flatbed trucks, tractor trucks, water trucks, forklifts, excavators, backhoes, loaders, skid steers, bulldozers, compact rollers, telehandlers, boom lifts, scissor lifts, diesel generators, air compressors, light towers. moricoequipment.com.
Yep, there's traffic already this morning. Route 3 looks like another hot spot again around the Ukadu area. You'll see traffic slowing down there and getting into and out of that area. Traffic is building all the way until you get to the intersection of Marine Corps Drive. You will see northbound traffic beginning to build. It actually has built over the course of the last 45 minutes or so from the Chicken Joy intersection by the Micronesia Mall up to the intersection of 1 and 3. 8, 10, and 16 beginning to build up right now. Should go solid red here probably in about the next 10 or 15 minutes. Also seeing traffic that is headed towards that intersection on Route 10 beginning to slow down and build up around the area where the intersection of 10 and 15 is available. Over in the Salampago area, we're starting to see traffic build up just before you get into ORDOT. What have I got for Big Navy? Clear. Navy Hospital, clear. Anderson Air Force Base, little bit of traffic building up as you make your way towards the front gate of Anderson Air Force Base. You'll see traffic building up in most of Marine Corps Drive as we are heavy into drive time this morning. That's right now traffic on the point.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local inspired breakfast. AM loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Yeah, buddy, 731-888-8255 is the telephone number. Send me your funny memes and your interesting and witty observations at 988-5874. That's 988-5874. That is our WhatsApp number. That's the way that more and more people are communicating. Heck, it's the way more and more people are getting their news these days. If they're not getting it instead from Kevin Kerrigan and the Guam Daily Post. Here he is with this morning's 7:30 headlines.
Half a day and Good Morning Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning: a jewelry shop in the heart of Tumon's tourist district reporting a theft on Monday after several jewelry boxes were found empty about noon. Shop owner Joyeen Ray has asked for the public's help in identifying a man and a woman captured on the store's surveillance footage. You can see their picture in today's Post. They're shown walking into the Silver Mania jewelry shop just outside the lobby of the Outrigger Guam Resort. The pair kept the store's staff busy, asking about a variety of items and their prices. When they left, employees noticed missing items from some of the boxes they were looking at. NAVFAC Pacific has awarded an $82 million fixed-price contract to Black Construction to design and build an aircraft maintenance facility and a corrosion control hangar at Anderson Air Force Base. The job includes the design and construction of a low-rise airframe shop with a shallow foundation and reinforced concrete walls and roof, as well as mechanical and electrical systems appropriate to Guam's earthquake and environmental conditions. The project's completion date is set for January 2021. 5 contractors competed for the bid, which was procured through the Federal Business Opportunities website. Guam Community College and the Guam Department of Education have launched a technical education program in telecommunications. GCC President Mary Okada was joined by GovGuam officials and representatives from Docomo Pacific, GTA, and IT&E yesterday for the formal launch of the program at Tejan High School. In her remarks, GCC President Okada said that the Guam Chamber of Commerce started the conversation a couple of years ago about creating a Silicon Village on Guam in an effort to devise a program to prepare students for the future of telecommunications. GCC's Industry Advisory Committee then partnered with Guam Telecom professionals to develop the new program to address the need for more IT workers on island. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
It's 7:34, Kevin, and we'll call that iConnect time. 888-888. Did I give him enough eights? It's like 17 of them in a row. Just pick up the phone and press 8 a bunch of times. When you get to the right number, the phone company will let the call go through to iConnect, and then you can find out why they are the practical choice with incredible rates on mobile and internet, and yeah, even push-to-talk plans.
Once upon a time, if you suffered a stroke, an extreme form of cancer, or needed specialized care like open heart surgery, patients had to go off-island for treatment. Today, GRMC provides this care, so patients recover on Guam, surrounded by loved ones. Follow-up care happens locally, and there are no additional expenses for a caregiver to travel with you. If you're a GovGuam employee or retiree, choose Calvo Select Care, the only insurance plan that includes GRMC.
Cold Stone Creamery is inviting you to try banana bread battered ice cream. Yeah, they got a bunch of other flavors, but they want to hear me say banana bread battered ice cream. And then they have the sea salt caramel ice cream made with premium. I know what you're thinking. Salt ice cream? Huh? Can it work? Ray, will it work? Listen, if it can be made to work, the people at Cold Stone will do it. Cold Stone uses premium Ghirardelli sea salt caramel sauce in their brand new creation. Be among the first to try it. Cold Stone Creamery, celebrating 30 years of the ultimate ice cream experience.
Sometimes a penny saved can lead to much more than a penny earned. With GPA Energy Sense rebate program, the power is yours. Earn money back while saving on your monthly power bill. GPA Energy Sense rebate program will help lower your initial costs when purchasing approved GPA energy efficient appliances and upgrades with monthly savings you can expect. For more Energy Sense saving ideas, visit GuamPowerAuthority.com or like us on Facebook. GPA, bringing energy solutions to you.
Did he say monkey savings? No, monthly savings. Okay, I got it. But I think monkey savings would be fun, too. It's 7:36 on the program. And maybe we get Cold Stone together with Subway. Maybe there's a way that we can do it. You get Cold Stone, and we'll have them make a ice cream with the flavors of the hot pastrami at Subway. That could totally work. Listen, guys from Cold Stone, let's get together over to Subway, and then I'll buy you guys all, or big shot my way into free sandwiches for you using the hot pastrami. It's only going to be around for a limited time, and they're so tasty and I think good for you. Lean cuts of the pastrami meat, and you put that on your favorite bread, and you put your favorite condiments on it. You are going to love it. Order bigger or order double, because there are going to be people around you that will want you to share, but you won't want to. I know, raised a Christian, but you're going to say, this is all mine. Get yours at Subway.
Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959. Now you can start planning for the holidays by getting a personal Christmas loan from $1,000 up to $3,500. Family Finance has 3 convenient locations to serve you. Give them a call in Dededo, 633-4473, Hagåtña, 475-4545, and the Upper Tumon location on the 2nd floor of the Pacific Building at 647-5626. Get your Christmas loans today from Family Finance.
Just a few minutes past. It doesn't look like there are any significant changes to the traffic patterns here that I'm watching. Doesn't look as busy leading up to Anderson Air Force Base. Doesn't look all that busy heading into Sumai either. And I'm just now beginning to see what I think are going to be the beginnings of traffic up at Navy Hospital. Otherwise, getting into downtown Agutnia should not be too much of a trick in any direction. 8, 10, and 16, a little bit busy as has been the case these days with traffic that is getting out from 8, 10, and 16 towards that one good intersection that gets everybody into Tiedzen. Otherwise, things are starting to build up on 16 from about where the post office is to the intersection, and we're watching traffic kind of in both directions in Mangilaw start to busy up as people need to make it through to 8, 10, and 16, and also to 4 and also to 15. A little bit busy on that roadway right now. Probably going to get busier in the next couple of minutes. That's right now traffic here on The Point.
We get it. Gas and utility rates keep rising with no end in sight. But with Double Play from GTA, you can get an extra sweet deal that'll save you extra cash. Sign up today and get 50 megabits per second with fiber home internet, unlimited talk and text, plus 25 gigabytes of wireless data. And new customers get the first month free with no contract. Save over $500 in the first year and get extra with Double Play from GTA. Conditions apply. Visit gta.net for more details.
Yeah, you can also WhatsApp me. You can also WhatsApp me at 988-5874 and let me know about traffic conditions. Yeah, talking about things over by Ukadu and that being kind of a hot spot for traffic right now. And I'm getting word that it is backed up past Ukadu right now and expect that is not going to be changing in the next couple of minutes. So thanks very much for sending that out to me this morning. Other comments on the WhatsApp: students should be allowed to get service credit. In the 70s, students on work detailed for infractions were assigned custodial duty instead of being suspended. Yeah, we called that jug at Father Duenas. It was justice under God, and that was something where the punishment for an infraction was swift and consistent. So, as an example, if I was caught by Sister Estelle at Father Duenas Memorial, if I was caught doing something I should have been doing, i.e., looking at my seatmate's paper during a test.
Get up, it's Jesus Day.
She was not allowed a cattle prod. However, she was. I trust me, I would. She had a pad of papers. There were the jug slips. And she'd write your name and what time you were to be expected in front of her office at school, and you sometimes you had a choice on exactly what your punishment was going to be.
Wow.
Yeah, but not very often. It always involves some kind of manual labor.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm sure the choices weren't stellar.
Yeah. So the choices were: would you like to trim the garden, the yard with scissors? Or would you like to attack the boondocks over there with machetes that were dull? The backside of the machete was actually sharper than the cutting side of the. It may still be that way.
Yeah,
might still be that way. I don't know if they're still doing that at Father Duenas. I know this from many years of being caught in a variety of. If there was a rule at Father Duenas, I'm pretty sure I broke it. I'm positive. In fact, my classmate Ray Lanetta, who was never ever given jug. He was always a good kid at school. Good morning, Ray. How you doing?
Hey, good morning. I was just thinking about that. I'm trying to remember whether I ever did jug, and I just can't remember doing any jug at all.
We had a name for people that never ever got in trouble, but I don't think I'd do that on the radio for you because you're my pal.
Oh.
I don't want to get into that. I don't want to play that. So, now you've been on hold for a couple of minutes. What is so important that you would be on hold for a couple of minutes during the news and the traffic?
Well, I'm going through traffic anyway, so it's not a big deal.
I got you.
I'm on my way hunting, right? I'm going through Route 3, and yeah, confirmed. The traffic is really bad all the way up to Okudu.
But why?
Because people are going to work. That's not what I told you about.
Okay.
I wanted to thank you for making my day by playing that piece on Peter Gill. we hear so much negativity out there with bad news and, crime this and crime that. We don't hear enough of actual people making a difference in people's lives and being a positive outcome, and for people to look up to them and say, wow, if Peter can do it and do it that way, so can I. We hear so much of the bad news stuff. We rarely hear the good stuff. So continue to play the good news and the positive stuff so that people can get motivated and be a positive role model.
Well, I promise you I will. I promise I will. It was a good feature yesterday, and like I said, because of a happy accident, I don't have this morning's extra point queued up and ready to go. And so, yeah, I don't have a problem playing an older episode, but that one in particular, like I said, as I listened to it yesterday, and as I'm driving around doing my stuff, the same as you are this morning, it kept revolving in my head, going, if Peter could see opportunities like that, I mean, he doesn't have any special gift, he doesn't have any special set of eyeballs, but you need to train yourself, as you have done, to be able to spot opportunities and see if there's a way that you can turn that into some kind of additional revenue, if for no other reason, to have a couple extra nickels to rub together. But you can build a lifetime based on those. And it's not that in the 1970s the rules were all that much more different that prevented people from being able to act on their ideas. So what's stopping? Right. So to the entrepreneurial wannabes out there, what's stopping you from finding a bunch of guys in the village that aren't doing anything right now, giving them some axes and machetes and chainsaws, and walk around the village looking for people that have got green waste that the mayor hasn't gotten to yet, or may never get it gotten to?
No, and I just met with a well-named person on Guam, and she was telling me her life story about when she went to school and her father didn't think that she would amount to anything, so he didn't give her the money to go to school. So she found a way to get a scholarship and eventually ended up here on Guam. And now she's a big name person. I won't name her, but it's like, could you imagine from a parent not saying, hey, this child is not going to amount to anything, to actually making a difference. And I think she talked to her dad and said, hey, thank you for whatever support you can give me. Mm-hmm. But in Guam, if people knew her name, they'd go, wow, she came from there, and it would be amazing for people to just know about where she came from, right?
Well, maybe if I drop me her name, and I'll give her name to Jerry Roberts, and maybe Jerry can do a follow up on it. You got me thinking about somebody who I admire quite a lot. Her name is Jennifer Rodriguez, and she runs an outfit called Local Promos. And if you follow her on Facebook, and everybody should follow her on Facebook, and for no other reason, because you can see on a daily basis the investment that she's made in herself, the investment that she's made in her family, and in her business, and how much her business has grown over the years from just her sticking with it. So, Renee, thanks very much for the call, Ray. I'll talk to you soon. I do need to grab another couple of calls, but thanks for listening, and thanks for catching us in the act of doing it right. I'll see you soon. Thank you, Ray. 888-8255 is the telephone number. I was talking about green waste out there, and I wanted to get Jenna Bloss on the line from Homeland Security and the JIC, the Joint Information Command Center, to reiterate the story that had gone out yesterday, which is that we have extended now, as you said we would, the deadline for green waste acceptance. Good morning, Jenna.
Good morning, Ray. Thank you so much for helping us get the word out.
Well, it's important because I still have that pile of stuff in my yard, so I was delighted to hear that I've got a few more days to decide whether or not I'm going to give it to Rudy.
You're right. So we have extended it. I'm sorry, not we, but the Mayor's Council of Guam, along with Department of Public Works, have extended it to October 5th. That's Friday. So the green waste debris sites at the respective village mayors, they're operational between Monday all the way through Sunday, between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m.
What's going to happen with all of that green waste? I mean, once it's in the designated areas, any idea on what the mulching activities are going to be? I think the concern with the Department of Agriculture is that it could be a breeding ground for all kinds of the invasive species, the rhinoceros beetle, and we're transplanting green waste that may have I don't know, those little red fire ants that are annoying, and moving those around in the village. Can we burn it, Jenna? Can me and my pyromaniac friends come and burn it?
You are able to obtain a burning permit through the Guam Fire Department. Burning must be done near a water source, such as a garden hose.
Yeah.
If you're able to do that, I highly suggest you get that permit, and the permit will be operational. You can use it for multiple days. You can check in with your local Guam Fire Department and pick up that permit if you're able to. For the green waste that's going to the Mayor's Council of Guam, to the Mayor's different debris sites, fortunately, there's a debris task force with all of the stakeholders involved, including Department of Agriculture, EPA, Department of Public Works. So there are a lot of eyes on this, and of course, it's a big item because we're going to be accumulating a lot of debris, like you said. A lot of those invasive species might be accumulating. So Department of Public Works and all of the stakeholders, there are plans in place to properly dispose of all of this extra debris.
Right. Well, like I said, if you need some help in burning it, if there's going to be one place where it's all going to be brought together, and then somebody needs to light it up, I want to be that guy. I want to pour the gasoline and the starter fluid for the barbecue, and then strike that match.
I'll let them know so that they can give you a call.
Yes, please. I'm happy to do that for the people of Guam. They're all in my heart. Hey, I know that we've been watching here for the last couple of days this system, this Invest now down in around Pohnpei. It seems to be meandering, not doing much of anything. Have you guys put any thoughts into how we're going to be treating this if it turns into one of those things that has that has all of the news coming out on the weekend?
Right. Well, we stay prepared. Of course, we're in constant communication with the National Weather Service. Again, there's still much uncertainty about this system and the circulation. So right now, it's just kind of a waiting game to see exactly what we can expect through the weekend, how strong it's going to be, if it's even going to affect Guam. We know that it's heading towards the Marianas. We just don't know exactly how strong or the exact location it will be by the time it gets here.
Right.
So what we remind the community is just stay up to date, especially through this week. Our office, along with National Weather Service, will be putting out as much information as possible about it. So we'll know more later on the week. Each day we know a little bit more about it.
Yeah, it doesn't look like we can expect anything today. I had a conversation with Ken from the National Weather Service, and he says it's not doing anything that is adding any particular data to help us forecast what this system is going to be doing in the next couple of days. Listeners just need to know that we are watching it in the media. They're watching it at the National Weather Service, and the Joint Information Center has got their eye on it as well. If we need to get information, it's do it the old-fashioned way. Make sure you got batteries and an actual radio that can pick up a radio station, and we'll find ways to get the information to you. It's technology makes that job a whole lot easier and makes it so, frankly, we don't always have to be in front of this microphone in order to bring the information to you. I'll share some of those secrets down the road in just a little bit. Governor yesterday, or in the last couple of days, sent a message to Washington, D.C. asking that Guam be declared a major disaster area. Has there been any action on that?
Well, we did receive notification that they did receive the request, and right now, again, we're just waiting for an update on whether or not we're going to be granted with federal assistance. So this request does not guarantee any federal aid, and although the major disaster declaration request included for both public assistance, which is more critical infrastructure and the business buildings, as well as individual assistance for residents, it does not guarantee that we will receive both. Again, it does not guarantee that we will receive any. So again, we're just waiting. We do have FEMA personnel that are working closely with our office, keeping us up to date if they receive any data. But at this time, again, we're still waiting.
All right. So blue check marks mean they got the message, but they have not yet responded to it. So just put this in the WhatsApp analogy here so that people understand what's going on. They know we're here. They know what the situation that we were in, but we just haven't found out what the nature of their response is going to be just yet. We've got our fingers crossed it'll be the whole enchilada that will include assistance for the government of Guam as well, because we had, I'm sure, numerous expenses, including the expenses of personnel at the Department of Education who are overseeing and I believe who continue to oversee to a degree the livelihoods of how many families? 17 families now still at the Estumbo gym?
Yeah, as of last night, it was 15 families, so a total of 106 individuals. The numbers slowly decline each day, so we just continue to try to assist these families. We're working closely with the Mayor's Council of Guam. The Department of Education, they definitely have a big role. They've been making sure that the students that are staying in the Estombo gym are able to be bused to and from their respective schools. We're grateful for all the partners that we're working with, Guam Housing Corporation and GURA, and all of the nonprofit organizations. It's really a whole community effort to try to get these people back to their new normal.
Okay, the new normal. I like that.
Right.
Jen, I appreciate your time, and I hope we get a chance to talk again soon about as soon as we get word on the nature of the response from the federal government on the disaster that we had here. As I said, I know that there were numerous expenses, and I know that there are individuals out there that would like to know if they might qualify for some kind of federal assistance in the wake of the storm that passed through here. For some people, it was just kind of a walk in the park. I had my electricity and on the next day, I never lost any water at my place, and just had to clean up some leaves that had been blown into the yard. But for other people, the storm was absolutely devastating. We hope that they're taken care of. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you so much, Ray.
You're very welcome, Jenna. Always nice to hear from you and know what is going on in your neck of the woods. 888-8255 is the telephone number around here. As I said, looking for information and visuals on what's happening where you are, 988-5874. If you've got WhatsApp, hey, I've got WhatsApp too, and love to share the information, because if you share it with me, then I can share it with everybody else. And keep the memes coming. Can I just say they are absolutely delightful, and the thing is, they come in at such random places in life. It's so funny. They come in at random places. So I might be thinking about 20 other very, very serious things, and then somebody will throw me a meme of I don't know, Ray Tenorio running away from the marshals or something like that, and that turns into a giggle that'll stay with me forever. And then the fun part is then I get to share it with people like Kevin and brighten up his day. All right, 888-8255, as I said, and Mike is. Yeah, I see it, but I don't know what that number refers to. Is that that's my phone number, right? Okay, I'm having a hard time understanding the hand signs. All right, 7:55 in the morning, and other items in the table of contents as I'm playing around with a number of topics. Yeah, let me grab her and see what's going on. Oya, how you doing? Oh, you got to put her on hold so I can get her. Hey, Oya, what's up?
I am fine. I'm great. How are you?
Never better. Mikey said that we were going to be talking this morning, and I couldn't remember why I needed to talk to somebody over at the governor's office. What besides the thing with the Mandania Task Force?
Favorite Palauan?
What's that?
Outside of talking to your favorite Palauan?
Oh, the list of favorite Palauans is long and distinguished.
I keep telling Elfrida I'm gonna be that number one Palauan.
Elfrey's near the top herself, but it's Leo and Lay and everybody. It's but yeah, your top 10.
Okay, well, since we are on the phone, I did want to make note. We did just send out a press release. I know that we've been getting a lot of there's been a lot of issues or concerns rather with the criminal element of our society. I did send out a press release this morning about 4 more criminals being deported, or the governor commuting the sentences so that we can start that deportation process.
You send that out this morning?
Yes, I sent it this morning.
You got it. Kevin got it, but I didn't get it.
Oh no!
I would have started the show with that. Listen, we need more of that. So it's 4 on top of the ones that were deported last week.
Yes. So we are. These are an additional. I think that brings us up to about 59, if I'm remembering the numbers correctly in my brain.
Drain the swamp, babe. Clear them out.
Yeah. Well, the idea is, of course, we had a lot of folks who are just walking in and out of DOC with, sort of no. There was just no showing of getting back into the community and positively contributing, and so of course the governor made the decision to commute their sentences and working with the federal government, getting them deported so that they can never hurt anyone on Guam again, because That's the idea, right? Making sure that the people of Guam are safe.
Well, and to send out a message that to everybody else that's running around that thinks that this is some kind of a permanent vacation where they don't have to pay anything and otherwise be responsible to the rest of the community. We don't live like that around here. And if you want to get into tussles at Payless and at the laundromat while people are trying to recover from a typhoon and mess around in the village, that's not going to be tolerated. So I hope that after those cases are adjudicated, that those jugheads are treated exactly the same way and put on a plane. And if we need to strike out a fund to afford the airplane tickets for these guys, you let me know. I'll do car washes, hon.
I will let you know.
I think that's terrific news. And now there's we're trying to come up with the actual number on tax refunds that have been paid so far in 2018. I think what was the number we came up with? $116 million.
No, 111.
$111 million. Is it?
$5 million?
How much?
That went out, including the $35 million that went out this week?
Yes, including the 35. And so there's another 15 million or so that's going out?
Yes. They are working on that right now. In fact, I think the last batch, the $35 million, they had to kind of break it up because there was a lot. They did most of it during the weekend. I'm pretty sure they got most of them to the post by yesterday afternoon. But between Revenue Tax and DOA, they're kind of trying to get the rest. They were trying to get the rest of the $35 million to the post office yesterday. While starting to work on the about $15 million or so.
Yeah.
That I think they're going to be they're processing this week, and hopefully they'll be able to get that into mailboxes by Monday. Did
the guys over at I guess it would be the Department of Administration or Revenue Tax, did they give you any idea of number one, what date this takes the payments to for the Status A returns, and how much money is left over? How much do they suspect still needs to be paid from the returns that have been filed so far in 2018?
So I believe this is all of the Status A, everything that's been processed and is sort of error-free and ready to be sent out. Up until the second week of April, I need to get back to you on that date.
Okay, but we're really, really close to the 15th and near the bottom of everything that the government of Guam owes for people that overpaid their taxes. Cool.
It's through April 3rd.
Through April the 3rd is what you've got there?
Yeah.
Okay, and then maybe we'll see what happens with the other 15 million. Interesting stuff. Hey, listen, Oya, always fun talking with you, and we'll get together. Marir.
Okay.
Okay.
Right,
It's 8 o'clock in the morning. The radio station is KUSG. Again, my name is Ray Gibson. Kevin Kerrigan's got more news coming your way from the Guam Daily Post. And Michael Knight and I are going to blab about weather in just a little bit. And Blake Watson and all of us are going to get together and pretend to talk about sports. It's all ahead right here on the Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point.
Sentenced for sex assault. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. He was known as America's dad. Now Bill Cosby is on his way to state prison as his team cries foul. Fox's Gernal Scott outside the courthouse in Norristown, Pennsylvania.
Lisa, Bill Cosby's defense team is planning an appeal to keep the 81-year-old comedian from years in prison, but Cosby's representatives' criticisms are harsher toward the prosecutors. Spokeswoman Ebony Benson says a recording of Cosby made by Andrea Constand's mother was illegally obtained and doctored.
Mr. Steele relied heavily on the recording in both trials, ultimately convincing the jury in the second trial to return a verdict of guilty.
In his post-trial comments, DA Kevin Steele described Cosby as an entertainer who's been unmasked and brought to justice. Lisa.
Gernal, a Senate hearing on sexual misconduct allegations against President Trump's Supreme Court nominee set to move forward later this week. Fox's Jared Halpern live on Capitol Hill.
The Judiciary Committee Republicans have hired a female attorney to question Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh and Christine Blasey Ford, a woman accusing Kavanaugh of sexual assault, at Thursday's hearing. It's a move committee Republican Lindsey Graham says he supports.
You can't do this in 5 minutes. If you've ever been a lawyer, you don't get 5 minutes to ask questions of key witnesses.
The committee Democrat Chris Coons calls it a dodge.
I believe that Republican senators on the Judiciary Committee are concerned that they will come across as aggressive, insensitive.
The Republican leaders have also hinted at a weekend Senate session to set up a confirmation vote early next week. Lisa.
Jared, Iranian President Hassan Rouhani accusing the U.S. of trying to overthrow his government. He made the comments this afternoon at the UN General Assembly after President Trump predicted stepped-up U.S. sanctions. Fox News, fair and balanced.
The first ever of anything is always special. That's why we're excited about the first ever 2018 Nissan Kicks. The Kicks kicks things up with best-in-class MPG, standard safety technology with automatic emergency braking system, and best-in-class cargo space to meet any lifestyle. Upgrades kicks things up with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and Bose driver headrest speakers. Over 1.4 million colorful options means your Kicks can be a first ever of its kind. The Kicks starts at under $20,000. Visit Nissan Guam for a test drive today. Nissan, innovation that excites.
Taste the sizzle at Chili's with our new fajita flavors. Our signature fajitas are served with sliced bell peppers, caramelized onions, topped with chipotle garlic butter, and chopped cilantro. Build your fajita with over 16 ounces of tender grilled chicken, juicy steak, and a dozen pieces of seasoned grilled shrimp in the family fajita trio. All served with warm flour tortillas and fresh toppings like mixed cheese, guacamole, salsa, and pico de gallo. Experience bold, sizzling fajita flavors only at Chili's. More life happens here.
A Florida congressional candidate has died unexpectedly.
April Freeman had been a Democratic congressional candidate a number of times, trying to win a seat often held by a Republican from the Sarasota area. But now the search is on for a successor nominee because the 54-year-old Freeman died of a possible heart attack late Sunday. The announcement came via Facebook on Monday from her husband, David. Freeman had been politically active most of her life, originally as a Republican. She even volunteered on Ronald Reagan's campaigns. Her GOP opponent, Greg Steube, has postponed his campaign events this week out of respect. In Miami, Eben Brown, Fox News.
A voluntary recall of macadamia nut products produced on Hawaii's Big Island because of potential E. coli contamination. All retailers told to remove the Mauna Loa products received after September 6. Detection of E. coli was found in well water and in the distribution system supplying the company's factory. The founders of Instagram leaving the company.
Kevin Systrom and Mike Krieger issued a statement saying they are ready for something new. They sold Instagram to Facebook in 2012 for $1 billion. 6 years ago, it was used by approximately 30 million people. It now has more than 1 billion users. Barron's magazine says Systrom and Krieger clashed with Facebook executives about Instagram's autonomy. And Facebook chief executive Mark Zuckerberg recently shifted as senior Facebook executive over to Instagram. Ginny Cosola, Fox News.
Will Smith taking a novel approach to turning 50. The actor bungee jumping today from a helicopter in northern Arizona. The stunt being billed as a leap into the heart of the Grand Canyon, but he's not actually jumping there. He's jumping over a smaller gorge on the Navajo Nation. The event raised money for charity with an online lottery for a chance to watch the jump in person. Lisa Lacera, Fox News Radio.
Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959. Now you can start planning for the holidays by getting a personal Christmas loan from $1,000 up to $3,500. Family Finance has 3 convenient locations to serve you. Give them a call in Dededo, 633-4473, Hagåtña, 475-4545, and the Upper Tumon location on the 2nd floor of the Pacific Building at 647-5626. Get your Christmas loans today from Family Finance.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
Calos Select Care continues to provide great benefits for GovGuam with affordable rates. Get free access to our gym partners. Earn up to $300 with our gym fitness rewards. Earn up to $200 with our wellness rewards. Choose from a wider selection of medical providers on Guam and off island. With all of these benefits, staying with Calos Select Care is that much easier. GovGuam employees and retirees, enroll today.
Grilled salmon, petite sirloin,
Can't decide.
What are you doing?
Making my top 10 list of favorite dishes at Ruby Tuesday.
You really need to get a hobby.
But I can't decide. There's no way I can narrow down so many classic dishes to just 10.
Then it's a good thing Ruby Tuesday did it for you.
It's the all-time favorites menu at Ruby Tuesday Guam. We took our most popular dishes and put them on one great menu for only $14.99. Hickory pork chop, Parmesan shrimp pasta, Prime Loco Moco. 10 top sellers at one great price. Pick your favorite for a limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
If you are looking to rent trucks, forklifts, or construction equipment, including Kohler generators, then contact Morico Equipment on Epau Road, 649-1946, or click moricoequipment.com. Box trucks, reefer trucks, freezer trucks, flatbed trucks, tractor trucks, water trucks, forklifts, excavators, backhoes, loaders, skid steers, bulldozers, compact rollers, telehandlers, boom lifts, scissor lifts, diesel generators, air compressors, light towers. moricoequipment.com.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 8 a.m. this Wednesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. 4 more FAS inmates convicted of deportable crimes are being sent back to their home islands. Governor Calvo signing the commutation orders this week, according to a release this morning from Adelup. Godwin Gilfag, Gerhardt Moses, Beto Rakin, and Nick Ichok have all been identified by U.S. Immigration as eligible for deportation. The victims in their cases have all given their approval to have the men sent back home, and the governor has signed the deportation order, according to the release. Gilfag, Moses, and Rakin all doing time on criminal sexual conduct charges involving minors. Ichok was also convicted of criminal sexual conduct involving a woman. In this morning's release, the governor quoted as saying, "These men won't be allowed to return to Guam and hurt others on this island." Governor said he hopes they'll use this as an opportunity to rebuild a new life for themselves. It costs Guam taxpayers about $119 a day, or more than $43,000 a year, to house each individual at the Department of Corrections prison in Manila. Department of Administration agreeing to grant Calvo Select Care a roughly 2.6% increase in the premiums it charges for health insurance for GovGuam employees and retirees. Leonora Condoso, a personnel specialist at DOA, explaining that the increase granted to compensate Select Care for the expiration of its QC in April of next year. When that happens, Select Care will be subject to the 5% business privilege tax. Select Care Plan Administrator Frank Campillo telling the Guam Daily Post that the 5% BPT was significant enough that they had to ask for the relief. Select Care and Take Care are the only two remaining providers of health insurance for GovGuam employees after Netcare pulled out, citing GovGuam's failure to pay timely premiums. Take Care is not increasing its rates at this time because the tax exemption it enjoys under the same QC program does not expire until January of 2021 for them. Open enrollment for the health plans being offered by the two providers began last week on Monday, ends this Friday. The insurance plans selected by GovGuam employees will take effect next Monday. We'll have more news after this.
UFC 229 on Sunday, October 7th. The notorious Conor McGregor returns to retake the UFC lightweight title from unbeaten champion Khabib Nurmagomedov in the main event of UFC 229. Pre-show starts at 10 a.m. and the fight starts at noon. Use your remote or call 688-CARE to order this pay-per-view event on Channel 401 or in HD on Channel 402. UFC 229 on Docomo Pacific is brought to you by TGI Fridays.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
11 minutes past 8 a.m. here at The Point. A week ahead of the Lieutenant Governor's first scheduled court appearance, the clerk of the Superior Court still searching for a judge to hear the misdemeanor charges against Tenorio, the Lieutenant Governor facing reckless conduct allegations in connection with the July 7th gun-grabbing incident down in Tumon. Judge Michael Bordallo, the latest judge to file a disqualification notice. He cited the involvement of his brother and sister-in-law in support of Leon Guerrero, the Democratic gubernatorial nominee running against Tenorio, who is the Republican nominee for governor of Guam. Bordallo is the fourth of the Superior Court's 7 trial judges to decline to hear the case. On Monday, Judge Maria Senzon cited her personal and professional relationship with Tenorio when she declined to hear the case. Last week, Judge Arthur Barcenas disqualified himself, saying he's a close family friend of the lieutenant governor, and Judge Anita Sokola also bowing out, saying Tenorio was once her student. The case has been assigned to presiding Judge Alberto Lamarena now. If he recuses himself, the court clerk will have to turn to either Judge Vern Paris or Judge Elise Iriarte. Tenorio is scheduled to make his first court appearance October 3rd, next Wednesday, before Magistrate Judge Benjamin Sisson. His attorney, Tom Fisher, said that he's going to take the case to trial, and he's confident of acquittal. As of yesterday, 106 people were still sheltered in the Estumbo Gym in Dededo in the wake of Typhoon Mangkhut. They represent about 15 families who are still looking for a new place to live. Civil Defense spokeswoman Jenna Blas says most are getting on with their lives now, heading back to work, to school, and trying to repair their damaged homes. Guam Homeland Security and the Office of Civil Defense has taken over management of the shelter from the Dededo Mayor's office. They're working with the Guam Housing Corporation and GURA to help find new homes for the remaining families in the shelter. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now talking weather.
I have no idea what the weather's going to be doing today, because sometimes I'll be in here and I'll read stories about how it's going to be sunny and maybe some isolated showers, and then about 11 o'clock in the morning, the heavens will literally open and rain will fall like it is time for Noah to start building an ark.
And that's kind of what they expect today because of these light winds. The air is not moving, so the stuff's just going to start building up into the sky right over where it starts, and that's right here on the island, thanks to the topography and the land. And so, yeah, looking for some showers and thunderstorms for lunchtime.
But it's also going to be unbearably hot later on. Max afternoon heat index could be about 101 degrees. Things have cooled down, obviously, at night. Overnight lows expected to be about 78 degrees. We'll watch the sunset and wait for the moon to come out at 6:14. Sunrise tomorrow morning at 10 after 6. Now, when it comes to Invest 94W or 94W Invest, as we've talked about here a few times on the program already, we've got an issue with a storm that doesn't want to become a storm or doesn't seem to be making its way. It's like separation anxiety from Pohnpei or something like that.
Yeah, definitely looking a little funny down there. So, and the conditions are not especially conducive for a strong storm. So I think it's safe to say, as Ken told us earlier, just expect something tropical to come through here nearby, close by us, sometime on Saturday.
It's the suspense. What's it going to be? What should I prep for? And I worry that what will happen is the people in the drama department will start talking about Category 6s again and be ready for stuff like that. Yeah. I just don't know. And that's the crazy thing. Waiting. What? Stop that. Cut it out. Wait. Hold on, somebody's Cardi B just leaping out of my phone for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, cool.
8:15, sort of. 8:15, and that's news and weather together here on The Point.
Honolulu, Seattle, LA, Vegas, Chicago, New York. With your first Hawaiian Bank United Mileage Plus credit card, you can save 10% on United flights to these great cities and anywhere else in the U.S. Book your tickets at the United City Ticket Office, talk to your travel agent, or go to united.com and use promo code FHB18U. Visit FHB.com/United Fair Sale 18 for offer details and restrictions. Terms and conditions apply. First Hawaiian Bank, member FDIC.
Portions of the program brought to you by King's Restaurant. 40 years they've been serving up our favorite meals, and they got a pretty good idea of what it is that we want. So they're trying to make it so it's easy as possible. You walk in and you say, "What's today?" And I'll go, "Wednesday." And then you say, "What's the special?" I say, "Wednesday's pork sinigang." That's the big deal. There's fresh pork too. Just this one here that you're listening to on the table at lunch today, later on. Just rely on that. It's a fact. Pork may be a little too fresh for you. Then maybe you try the pick 2 or pick 3 combo today at King's.
Are high power bills sending your budget into chaos? Take control with the help of Micronesia Renewable Energy. Using the highest quality panels, a solar energy system from MRE will guarantee to save you money on power. With MRE, Christmas starts in September. With every solar energy system, homeowners not only get $400 for signing up, but also an entry for a chance to win $1,000 in cold, hard cash, just in time for Christmas. It pays to be an MRE customer. Conditions apply. Call 632-2613 for details. MRE, the smarter choice.
And there's never been a better time to go solar with MRE. Portions of the program also brought to you by American President Lines. APL is shipping the future. Guam Regional Medical City and American Water Tech. Smarter water, better water. And it brings me an incredible amount of pleasure to tell you that the new 2019 ES350 is now on Guam. Test drive one today in the Lexus showroom at Atkins Kroll.
The Ray Gibson Show. Call now. 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Mark Colby on Facebook this morning reminds himself that he was joking in the beginning of the Guam Major League Baseball season that this could be a long one. He says, "Heck, we could be still playing the Guam Major League season in October." And you know what? Given the weather that we've had and the fact that they had to shut down a game last night, it's possible, is it not, Blake Watson?
Very much so.
I mean, today's the 26th. It'll be October Monday.
You know, it's funny because I was thinking that exact same thing last night when we got the group text, from the GML chat, and I was like, man, this is going to go all the way to like the regular baseball season, which I think usually wraps up, if it goes to Game 7 of the World Series, is about the first week of November now. So we're kind of on pace for that if the weather keeps up.
Which is unbelievable. And the weather, I think, is going to keep up like that. I think we're in an interesting time. Somebody asked me how things are going, and I was telling you that, here we are on Guam bracing ourselves for another wet weekend. And I thought, well, it's just, it's that time of year here in the Intertropical Convergence Zone.
I think it's time to build a really big domed stadium.
Where? Oh, here?
Somewhere, yeah. Yeah, because then you could play all sorts of sports inside of it. And keep in mind, I come from Houston. We had the first.
Yeah.
And you could use that thing for anything. Rodeos, football, baseball.
Why don't we just get that one?
Yeah, it'd be kind of tough to move. They're not using it anymore.
You're so negative. You're always looking for a reason why we can't do something. Oh, it'll be too hard to move. Oh, it's made of concrete. Oh, it'll sink when we put it in the ocean. I'll just say, hey, you know what it's time for? It's time for Sports with Blake.
This is the anticlimactic.
I hate it. Let's get one that's got more showbiz on it. This is like, we're waiting for the evil guy to show up in one of those Marvel shows.
Like Thanos?
Yeah, like that.
Mm-hmm. I didn't see that. I just act like I know.
I started watching a show on Netflix last night. I think it's a movie.
Ozark? Oh, you said a movie.
Bleach.
Nirvana?
No. Is that what it's called? I gotta look. It's a Japanese one.
Oh, okay. No. I think Bleached is the title of a Nirvana documentary, but you would clearly know that that's what you were watching.
Yeah,
that's what you were watching. You would know you're watching Kurt Cobain.
There was no Kurt Cobain in it.
No music and no Seattle.
Kurt Cobain's girlfriend used to be a dancer at a strip joint in Antigua once upon a time.
Courtney
Did you know
Love?
That? Yes.
Really?
Did you know that?
I didn't know she had ties to Guam.
It's a fact. When Kevin and I were working at Guam Cable TV.
Yeah. I never saw her there.
Right? No, because there was a place next door that we'd go to every once in a while.
Boy, have they cleaned up Antigua, haven't they?
What topless bar did Courtney Love not work?
Relatively speaking, Club Texas, I believe was the name of it back in.
I remember that place.
No, look it up.
I remember that place.
I don't think she makes any bones about it. I think she says, "Yeah, I used to be a stripper on Guam."
Yeah, they kind of credit her a lot for being one of the first ones to mention the Harvey Weinstein thing back in like 2007 in a little like one-off red carpet interview. She made light of the Harvey Weinstein allegations.
And the connection to sports this morning?
There's not one of that,
none whatsoever.
But
Hey, at least we're honest.
Yeah. But finishing out the regular season, it was a game that I attended yesterday, so I can speak on it wholeheartedly. 2018 IIAG Girls Volleyball Finale 4. The Guam High Panthers, and I thought it was for the Harvest Eagles as well, but they informed me at the end of the game that they do have a makeup game with JFK Thursday, so tomorrow. Not sure where that's going to be or, what the original game, was scheduled for, but surely it's probably just going to be how it was, wherever that was. But last night, the Eagles take
care of the Guam High Panthers. They send us all home early in 2 straight sets as they finish out the Guam High Panthers season for them, 25-22, 25-18. And like I said, they will, I believe, have a small glint of hope for the playoffs. But all's got to go right with JFK as they face off against their rematch tomorrow.
Are they going to do that at the Fieldhouse?
I don't know where. Oh, yeah. Well, I know the championship will be at the Fieldhouse, and I do know this because I'm waiting to see how the rest of the season, the rest of the makeup games shake out. But the high school girls volleyball quarterfinals, as we kind of talked about yesterday, as quarter one comes to an end very soon. Playoffs are also happening. So I believe the playoffs will happen at the respective schools, depending on who had the better record, and then it will all culminate at the UOG Calvo Fieldhouse for the consolation in the championship game. And I'll have information on that next week, probably.
Got anything happening with football tonight?
Not tonight. No. And we are waiting for, I believe our next NFL game will be Friday morning for us. So a couple days as the Thursday night game between Rams and the Vikings.
So, but that's the first game of week number 4.
Of week 4,
okay.
yeah. And like I said, that'll be Thursday night States, Friday morning for us.
Yeah,
So
where are we going to watch? Where are we going to watch that?
I don't know.
The last season we had there was a place. There were places where we could go and pretend to do live broadcasts and stuff like that, and they'd bring us free booze and we get raffle prizes and stuff like that. So we got to work out
crowd going. Some lunchtime folks.
We got to work on something like that.
I think so too.
It never took off. The Friday games never seemed to take off as much as the Tuesday as the Monday night.
And you know what I think is interesting too is the league is becoming more unpredictable, so you got that going for it. But I also know that this year is Fox actually picked up from Fox instead of last year it was CBS and the NFL Network. This year Fox agreed to go in with the NFL Network and do Thursday night games, but they said, listen. If we're going to do it, NFL, you're going to have to schedule us some meaningful, good games. And so the NFL has done that for Fox this season. So those games have actually become better, just based on the scheduling. So, maybe the crowd would be better as well.
Or just more matchups, between some of the rival guys, and make bigger deals about those as they come up, Houston and Dallas and all of those kinds of things, and wherever you have the opportunity. I don't want to go into a sad note time because he was never ever sad. I never remember seeing Marsh sad, but his services are going to be tomorrow over at the Calvary Baptist Church in Upper Tumon, from right up the street from here, from about 3 until 6. Now, many people know him as a teacher at John F. Kennedy High School. In fact, many people only know him as a teacher at JFK, but members of the running community know him as Marsh or Mr. Marsh, kind of the club historian, because he's been knocking around in all the big races forever. And so the entire island is probably going to be coming out to the Calvary Baptist Church tomorrow in Upper Tumon to bid him farewell between 3 and 6 tomorrow. Now, I personally love a happy memorial, and I love. I hope that this is one of those things that he wrote into whatever it was when he was doing his goodbyes, because it says in the clipping here: memorial service attire, casual wear, or a T-shirt with humorous sayings.
I was gonna, that, and I always like it too when they do the food for him too. Their favorite food, hey, we're gonna have pizza and Brussels sprouts. You know what I mean?
It gets me thinking about how I want my particular goodbyes one of these days. In lieu of flowers, those wishing to honor his memory are asked to bring donations of food, clothing, and linens for Typhoon Mangkhut relief. So, I mean, his personality shining through even through the memorial service. So, members of the running committee, I'm fond of saying when people say, we're glad that you started running. I say, yeah. He says, glad you still run. I say, yeah. And they say, why? Why running? I said, I've never known anybody in the running community to have died. Yeah. And I don't know that I'll be able to say that again, but that's the legacy that Marsh will leave behind. 8:25 in the morning. Anything else big going on in the sporting community here or elsewhere?
No, not really. We, like I said, just trying to wrap up locally IIAG first quarter, and after that, it looks like next week we'll be right in the midst of playoff season. And we got a Masters team that moved up in a division, and really the only news for them right now is that they are headed off again to, I believe, Vegas. So I'll have probably some results from them as those filter in.
So we were trying to find a connection between the Kurt Cobain and what's her name story, Courtney Love, and stripping here on Guam and sports. Brad Hewitt has found a connection.
Oh, boy.
Pole dancing, he says, is apparently a sport now in certain parts of the world, Hong Kong especially. So there's sport, pole dancing sport as a sport. Are you looking it up? Are you Googling now?
No, but I do know that they do have those gyms like Dreamers and ribbon dancing gyms, right? Where girls take like pole dancing and ribbon dancing classes all in the same facility.
Yeah, and they hang from the silk.
Yeah,
and
but they're
the
fully
rafters
closed
and
most of the time, right?
Well, I think that they're doing it more for fitness as opposed to like a competition. But I guess I said that to say it doesn't surprise me that because they have them in the form of fitness classes that they have them in the form of competition.
If you see me on a pole, know that someone probably stuck me up there. I'll need some help.
If they need a judge for that, by the way.
There's from the Washington Post, fake news, pole dancing in the Olympics. International Sports Federation recognition helps pave the way. This story from last year. No strip club necessary. Pole dancing now stands on its own as a provisionally recognized sport thanks to the Global Association of International Sports Federation, which granted the activity's International Governing Federation observer status. Pole sports is a performance sport combining dance and acrobatics on a vertical pole. It requires great physical and mental exertion. Strength and endurance are required to lift, hold, and spin the body. A high degree of flexibility is needed to contort, pose, demonstrate lines, and execute techniques.
Kevin, do you think that's a summer sport or a winter sport?
You know, in China, there was a story. I'm looking at it right now. A teacher of kindergarten students was fired for pole dancing in front of her students. Caused an outrage after showcasing a pole dancing performance in front of pupils, kindergarten students.
Is it moral? It's moral turpitude in China, but a possible Olympic sport down the road. Booney Dog writing in with his observation: back in the day, if you kept your daughter off of the pole, you were a successful parent. You did an outstanding job. Now it's like, hey, let's go to the gym. Come on, Mom, Grandma, let's pole dance. You wanna? Let's install one in the living room with next to the karaoke thing.
I found out where Courtney stripped and worked here.
Yes,
from her book.
Did she write it up?
Yeah, she was apparently trying to. She was kicking around L.A. and San Francisco trying to get a part in the Sid and Nancy movie starring Gary Oldman.
Yes.
And she did not get the part. Went to Chloe Webb, who was 28 at the time. Courtney went to Guam. She got a job at Brandy Howe's strip club near the U.S. Army base. Brandy Howe was a hard...
No U.S. Army
There's
base.
no Army base on Guam.
Was a hard-aced Korean businesswoman who, unbeknownst to Courtney, expected her girls to turn tricks with the soldiers. She also wanted Courtney to change her image with a wig and blue eyeshadow. She wouldn't do any of it. Brandy Howe made her dance in the back room instead of the main stage.
Whoops.
3 videos played over and over. A Japanese porn flick, a Korean porn flick, and Caligula. To this day, Courtney can recite enormous chunks of the dialogue from Caligula. She spent 3 weeks at Brandy Howe's before Alex Cox tracked her down and written a small part for her in that movie. She got out of Guam after 3 months. As usual, she had to make a perilous escape. She got out without being noticed. By the time she reached the airport, 2 huge Samoans were on her trail. They chased her. They chased her through the Guam airport, and she ran up to a security guard and screamed, "These men are trying to kidnap me." The Samoans backed off, and Courtney boarded her flight. And I guess the rest is history.
Yeah, well, whoever writes the books, whoever's left standing gets to write the books, and that will become history. Although I'm sure that there are people in a certain age group that were familiar with things around that time that might be going, yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
That's from Courtney Love, The Real Story.
Yeah, The Real Story, sure. I think that was embellished for Hollywood, if
I
you
think
will.
she needed some drug money at the
What Army
time.
base was she talking about? There weren't any.
No Army base.
If there were Army guys on Guam in that time period, it was a complete and total accident. It was like,
Keep in mind, as someone like Courtney Love, it's
and
all the
Brandy
same.
Howe doesn't strike me. Brandy Howe doesn't strike me as a traditional Korean businesswoman name.
8:30
Brandy
in the morning.
Howe.
Crazy conversations. Hey, and that's not the craziest stuff that's out there. There's even more crazy stuff in the world. Celebrity President Donald Trump apparently got some laughs at the United Nations this morning, and has also proclaimed. And some people say there might be a lesson in this for us here on Guam. Has also proclaimed that he is not in favor of statehood for the people of Puerto Rico, based on a personal feud with the mayor of San Juan.
Yeah, the statement was that there'll never be a state until they can get rid of their corrupt politicians. But what's hidden there is that Puerto Rico will never be a state, nor will Guam or any of the other territories.
Yeah, it's
just
probably
how it is.
yeah. If you want details on the whys on all of that stuff, all you need to do is listen to it. First 20 minutes of Bob Klitsky's program on any given day. Trump lobbed fresh broadsides at San Juan Mayor Carmen Yulin Cruz, a critic of his administration's response to hurricanes on the island last year, during a radio interview with Geraldo Rivero, with the mayor of San Juan as as bad as she is and as incompetent as she is, Puerto Rico shouldn't be talking about statehood until they get some people that really know what they're doing. But that's not what got him laughs over at the UN today. He was talking about how great everything was, and people were laughing. But he's also trying to explain to people why he's not going to be open to immigration and why he kind of wants to shut that down.
Did you see what his response was?
When
they started laughing, he was like, "Oh, not really the response I was expecting." But and he tried to laugh it off himself without being embarrassed. But clear, you know how he is. You can see when he's hurt. You know, when his feelings are hurt.
Wait a second. It's the United Nations. I can't think of a more useless body on the planet than the United Nations.
And I saw somebody tweet. Somebody pulled up one of his old tweets from 2014 that says, "We need a president that's not the laughingstock of the world." You know, blah blah blah. And of course, they quoted his, screenshotted his tweet from 2014 with the video of him being laughed at on the world stage, and it was just kind of a funny irony.
I love that stuff.
Irony
Anyway, fun
example.
morning. It's 8:31 in the morning, and that's all the time that we've got for pretending to talk about sports with Blake Watson. He's going to go back and do the rest of the morning show over on Star 101. We've got headlines with Kevin Kerrigan. That's ahead right here on the Ray Gibson Show.
This GovGuam open enrollment season, GRMC recommends selecting Calvo Select Care to ensure the best care for your family, especially your children. We all hope for good health, but should an emergency arise, it's good to know your child is fully covered to receive the best medical care using the latest technology available. Your child deserves the best. Calvo Select Care is the only insurance plan that includes GRMC for GovGuam employees and retirees. GRMC, where patients are partners.
This pole dancing music. That's what it is. This pole dancing music. Actually, around that time period is virtually every song that you could walk into any strip joint on Guam and hear pretty much everything by Guns N' Roses and AC/DC. Those were the big songs. Although I will recall a girl who had her tastes were more aligned with pop music, and her big entrance song was Debbie Gibson's "Only in My Dreams."
Oh boy, yeah. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, they really like it when you play "Shook Me All Night Long" by AC/DC. That gets the dollars flowing.
I bet it does. It's 8:33 in the morning. I heard from Michael Knight. It's time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning: a jewelry shop in the heart of Tumon's tourist district says they were robbed Monday afternoon by a couple that came into the store and distracted attendants before making off with some jewelry. Shop owner Joyeen Ree has asked for the public's help in identifying a man and a woman captured on the store's surveillance footage. Their picture can be seen in the Guam Daily Post. They're shown walking into the Silver Mania jewelry shop just outside the lobby of the Outrigger Guam Resort. The pair kept the store's staff busy, asking about a variety of items and their prices. When they left, employees noticed missing items from some of the jewelry boxes. The theft has been reported to Guam Police. NAVFAC Pacific has awarded a $82 million fixed-price contract to Black Construction to design and build an aircraft maintenance facility and a corrosion control hangar at Anderson Air Force Base. The job includes the design and construction of a low-rise airframe shop with a shallow foundation and reinforced concrete walls and roof, as well as mechanical and electrical systems appropriate to Guam's earthquake and environmental conditions. The project completion date is slated for January 2021. 5 contractors competed for the contract, which was procured through the Federal Business Opportunities website. St. John's School in Upper Tumon has invited an internationally known Episcopal bishop to speak, and the island's community is welcome to come hear what he has to say. Bishop Michael Curry is the head of the Episcopal Church of the United States. He won some international acclaim earlier this year for the sermon he delivered in May at the wedding of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle in London. Bishop Curry spoke passionately about the power of love. He also spoke about his struggle with prostate cancer and the treatment he's receiving to overcome it. St. John says that the subject of Bishop Curry's address this weekend here on Guam will be on diversity. He's scheduled to speak in the school's gymnasium on Sunday, September 30th at 6 p.m. Contact St. John's for further details. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Right on. 8:36 in the morning is iConnect time. They are the practical choice, Kevin. All you need to do is call 888-8888. Ask them for the incredible details on their incredible plans for push-to-talk and mobile and internet at iConnect.
Always here to help you. This island is our home. Through the years, we've been a friend to the neighbors we have known. Now we're banking on the future. Services to choose. Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Hey, go eat a salad for lunch. Come on, it's good for you. It's healthy. A lot of flavors in the new Wendy's Harvest Chicken Salad. Truly delivers on all of the flavors of fall. What did that guy say he was going to be talking about? Diversity at the thing. Now, it's so very important. Wendy's people are already big on diversity, and they've got a diverse number of flavors with this salad here. You like that? To a segue from the headlines and a big story into the commercial for Wendy's? Yes. It's an incredible amount of talent right here, right in this program. You don't want to. This is why more people tune in here for their morning constitutional and information and entertainment than anywhere else on the planet. Made with fresh cut lettuce, crisp red and green apples, dried cranberries, and the perfect combination of applewood smoked bacon. There's bacon in salad. Bacon, they put bacon in salad. We'll put some crumbles of feta cheese in there for you as well. But they're not done. They're not. There's more flavors in this. Apple cider vinaigrette. Huh? Just put a little pucker on the tongue when I said that, didn't I? Apple cider vinaigrette. And how many of you are drinking apple cider these days? Or some cider-like thing in the morning. That's a thing, you know.
Is beer cider?
Yes. Beer is cider.
I have
and
at least two every morning.
Can and should have it for breakfast every morning. And then there's brown sugar roasted walnuts. They could have just put walnuts in, but they paid up for the brown sugar roasted ones. That's what you're having next time that you don't want to eat a big meal, but you still want to get a lot of flavors. It's the new fall. This is already like a 79-second commercial for it, isn't it? For Harvest Chicken Salad from Wendy's. Now that's better.
The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts of Guam Training every morning on The Ray Gibson Show.
I've heard it said that there are three kinds of people in the world. I'm Jerry Roberts, and at 7:20 a.m. on The Ray Gibson Show, will you be ready to find out what kind you are?
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point by Jerry Roberts at guamtraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts on The Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point.
There was traffic before, and there's a little bit of it now coming in off Route 16 from the post office to about Happy Mart. You might find a little bit of traffic building up there. It's moving, so I don't think there's anything to worry about. Between Salampago and Ordot, might have a line of traffic building up maybe around the church. And let me see, what have I got here? Chicken Joy intersection to Guam Regional Medical City. That road, there's still all that construction going on there. Anyway, so northbound traffic there on Marine Corps Drive might be a little bit of a hassle for you, but otherwise everything looks like it's cleared up, except the one last one here. It usually still works like that, even at this time of the morning at 8:39, where we look at traffic in front of the A.B. Wanpat International Airport, the Tiedzin Parkway, as it's called. That last light here, in between where the Koreans get their rent-a-cars and the last light. That's the part where things are snagging up right now over at the airport. 20 away from that's right now traffic here in Des Moines.
Cheese curls and hot sauce, pantosta and coffee. Great alone, but better together. Here's another perfect pair for you. Docomo Pacific has created the Better Together bundle, combining two great services for one low price. Get unlimited local talk, text, and 20 gigs of data, plus unlimited home internet speed up to 20 megabits for $109 per month. You also get free installation and a Galaxy A8 Plus when you sign up today. Mobile plus online from Docomo Pacific. Better Together. Some conditions apply. Call 688-KRC store for details.
Yep. 20 away from 9 o'clock in the morning, the Ray Gibson Show, until it's not going to be anymore. I know that shouldn't be something that you look forward to, but just FYI, that's how I've been saying it for years, and I'm too old to try to change now. As I say, on the way into the 9 o'clock hour, and a whole bunch of stuff. Even though look, I'll just tell you right, I'm unhappy with today's news. There's not enough of it, and I don't feel like there's a whole lot of real compelling stuff out there right now. I think, and that's why I've named today's program on Facebook Live. I always try to put a theme together, and so today's theme is Plot Twist Wednesday. Doesn't quite roll off the tongue, but I suspect that there might be something. This is one of the hazards of doing talk radio in the morning. You know, I'm generally kind of going backwards a little bit. And taking a review of what the news stories were last night, and maybe some updates on them this morning. But for all intents and purposes, I cannot read the future. I cannot. I don't know how to. You know what? Maybe I'll do. I'll get back into tarot. I used to do tarot. Believe it or not, tarot, not the tarot plant, but tarot card reading. I taught myself how to do that because I don't know. I was bored once, and I got really kind of hooked on psychics. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna learn how to do this and see if there's anything to it. And as it turns out, there's not much to it. It's not all that difficult to be able to lay out the cards and to do some kind of readings and turn that into some kind of an oracle and maybe guide your way through the day. But it's not as much fun as, like, say, playing solitaire. So I don't do it anymore. But maybe I should pick it up so I could tell you what the plot twist is going to be today. I don't know what the plot twist is going to be. I'm waiting for shoes to drop, aren't you? Aren't you waiting for shoes to drop? There's, and there's big stories. Obviously, the election is huge, and we're 42 days away. Wow, there's another thing. Just take a look at it. How close are we to the election? Let me just go, guys. I want to confirm that's what it is. Guam Election Commission. Okay, yeah, that's the website I want to go to, and because they've got a countdown clock. So I want to say 40 days is only 40 days between now and the general election. Do you have everything that you need in order to make a qualified decision on who will be at the helm, who will be at Adelup, guiding policy and a billion-dollar administration for the next at least 4 years? You got that? Yeah, some people, yeah, I figured it out. I'm in. Got somebody else, yeah, I figured it out. Gun grab thing doesn't bother me, so I'm going. But and then I think there's a lot of other people that are going. Is there anybody else? Is there anybody else here? Some people, you look at Ray and you go, well, he's got some good ideas, but would that not just be a continuation of the last 8 years, a continuation of the Calvo administration and Eddie's legacy? And there are some that look at Lou and Josh and go, well, they're interesting, they're different. Be cool to have a girl governor at Adelup, but she's a business person. Is she going to be able to look out for the people in this community that aren't necessarily lined up as business people who pray at the altar of commerce? Is that going to be? Will there be any significant difference in the way that we live our lives, right? What is going to happen that is going to make a difference in the way people live? Will there be? And I'm big on infrastructure, right? So here's one that I always crow about. I want new roads. I want the ones that we have to be better taken care of, but I want new roads. And I know what you're going to say. Well, they paved Hamburger Highway. Well, Hamburger Highway was always there. It was just in a lousy state. That's not new. It's always been a named road between, and they call it Hamburger Highway. For those of you, the uninitiated here, the ones that just moved to Guam, saying there's got to be a great story. And you'll say, well, it's called Hamburger Highway because there's a McDonald's at the end of it. Well, there used to be a Burger King at the beginning of it. And I want to say it was Cindy Hansen when she was doing traffic at Radio 100 a few years ago. And I think she is the one that coined that Hamburger Highway because of that. So that road's been there for a long time. That's not a new road. It's just in better shape than it ever was. I want to see. I want to see. You know where Pickanail Road is, and I've mentioned this before. I even mentioned it to Joanne Brown when she was in charge at DPW. There ought to be a way to get from Pickanail Road behind AK and Tamuning and punch through, if you will, to EPOW Road. And there ought to be a way to get from EPOW Road to Pickanail so that you can get to the ITC building, not the ITC, but you can get to GPO and Gibson's and all the new buildings where Yuko works at Guahan Insurance and the coffee stores. There ought to be an easier way besides Marine Corps Drive to get to that very, very important place. It'll be hell when you get to the end of the street where the Shell gas station is, because that's a lousy place to make a left-hand turn anytime. But I'm just saying, just more roads. You know where I'd really like to see a road? I'd like to see a road at the ITC intersection that goes straight up the hill to Tiedzin. Wouldn't that be cool? Huh? Wouldn't it be nice to get from the center of the island, Mongmong Totomaiti, Barragata? Wouldn't it be great to be able to take just one easy route through Tiedzin and down the hill, and bang, we're in Tamuning. You know, PDN the other day had what was it? There was a picture of old Guam, 1944, and there were a couple of things that stood out in my mind. Number one, hey, where's the Paseo? Mono. They didn't have a Paseo then. They took what was bombarded in Agania and bulldozed it and made that reclaimed land where people jog and play baseball and all of that stuff. There's a little bit there, a little spit of land out in that place, but it wasn't as gigantor as the Paseo is now. But the other thing is you could plainly see where what it still wasn't at the time called Marine Drive or Marine Corps Drive, but you could see the road that becomes Route 8. And you go, well, I guess that has been here for a long, long time, hasn't it? What's Johnny Ray saying? John Ray says there was a shortcut between EPOW Road and Pickanail. But where? I've never been able to. Is it there? Is it, you know what? It's probably somebody's, what do they call that? Carabao Trail, Bull Cart Trail. And you're not supposed to go there. Huh. But that's one of the things. You know, when we start talking about, which one of these Jughead teams are going to be the ones that really make a difference for us, and just in a casual conversation with, what more would you like to see? Is either of them going to be capable of rendering Guam Memorial Hospital not to be a basket case anymore? And Google basket case. I think is an interesting etymology behind that phrase. So is it possible that one of these two teams are going to be able to fix that? Is it possible that they'll be able to help John Fernandez continue the work that he's done with the Ed Board in right sizing and right grouping the Department of Education? And will these two guys, will either one of these teams, because it's time to start asking, 40 days out, it's time to start asking those, I think, very, very important questions. Will these guys be able to, at some point, Judge Francis Tydenko Gatewood is going to make obsolete or let expire or let lapse the not the third-party fiduciary relationship, but the receivership over the Guam Solid Waste Authority. At some point, that's going to come back to the government of Guam. And will Lou and Josh, or will Ray and Tony, which one of these two teams are going to ensure that the Guam Solid Waste Authority does not go back to being the embarrassment that it was when DPW was in control of it? What is it, 15 years ago now? I'm trying to remember how long we've had the receivership. There are people that can tell you how long we've had the receivership in dollars and cents. But that's one of the things that we've got to look out for. You think about it. You think about what they've been able to do in their times in politics around here. And then fast forward through that. Are they going to be able to be the ones that will be able to take the expensive but really good things that the receiver has been able to do for trash and the solid waste system on Guam? And just be able to maintain it just the way it is. I'm not asking for anything new. Frankly, I'd be happy if they just make it so that we didn't have the Honda Basula leaking out of the trash trucks all the time. But if absent that, yes on the recycling, yes on the curbside pickups and the very efficient way that they make things work over at GSW. I'm not asking for anything new. See, and Brad Hewitt, and at the same time, I'm saying the words Hanum Basula, and he wrote it down. So which ones are going to be able to do that? Which teams are the ones that are going to be able to do that? Which ones are going to be able to do a better job fighting crime in this community? Because we got big city crime around here. We got people from Italy walking around with these skimming devices.
It seems like that the police could cite those garbage trucks who are leaking that Hanum Basula for, waste or some kind of, they've got to be some kind of something they could ticket them for.
It's leaking hazardous waste.
Yeah,
if you ask me,
to say the least.
We know, and you've heard the rant before. Because it's one of my favorite ones. But you've heard the rant before about the Hanum Basula. It is exactly the same thing. If it was coming out of the bottom of one of the cells in Luzon, it's leachate. It's garbage water, and who knows what's in there? There's chemicals in there, and there's sure.
You mean you don't like that earthy smell while you're trying to enjoy that breakfast burrito along Palo San Torres Road?
No, the gag a maggot here is the phrase that we've used from a long time ago. A smell that would gag a maggot is what we have coming out of the back of those things, and in that water in and of itself coming out of the old ORDOT dump and into the rivers and finally coming out over in Pago Bay. That's what we were cited on by the federal government of the United States of America, and that's why we have a receiver. And so it was not okay for the old ORDOT dump and the Camacho administration to allow it to happen, but it is okay, apparently, for these trucks to allow it to happen, and all these different private sector companies and the GSWS. That's among the rants here. We'll put that top 2 or 3 rants that I've got here. But like I said, at some point, and maybe it's going to be before the end of the year, maybe it will be at the beginning of a new gubernatorial administration, Francis Tadenko Gatewood is going to say, okay, now it's your problem. Make sure it doesn't go back to what it was before. And which one of these two teams do you suppose has got the management skills to be able to get it done? Who's going to sit on their boards? We need to start hearing about that. We need to start hearing more about who it's going to be. Sometimes I get into an interview situation with somebody, and I want to ask the question, what are you going to do at the end of the administration? Everybody that is sitting in a director, deputy director position right now is going to be writing their goodbye letters, their letters of resignations, and many of them are going to be accepted. Thank you very much for your service in the new administration, and putting somebody else in there. Or will they just get shuffled around? So I don't know. So you be thinking about that, and you let your own personal rants go in and out of your head this morning. What have we got? I have no problem with Hanum Basula. That's because I went to public school, and it reminds me of the cafeteria. I like that. Lou and Josh, Ray and Tony. Doesn't it sound like capos from The Sopranos? I mentioned, I forgot to finish it, but there are a couple of shows that I've been watching on Netflix. I think one of them that you'll like, The Good Cop. Which is
with Tony Danza.
Yeah, with Tony Danza.
I keep seeing it pop up because I finally succumbed to Netflix because I got tired of YouTube, quite frankly. And I keep seeing it pop up there, and I'm like, wow, do I want to watch that? And I may want to.
Oh, yeah. The first episode was delightful.
Nice.
I enjoyed watching the first episode. Nice pilot, and got me into the program yesterday. And I thought it was pretty cool. Him and Josh Groban is the name of the actor that plays his son. And I finally got to the end. Just for those of you that live and die on my social media consumption and my entertainment habits these days. Ash and the Army versus the Army of Darkness. I finally made it to the end of the Stars episodes that they had. I may rewatch them because I like the political incorrectness in virtually every single episode of the program. It just makes me smile that it's out there. Brad writing, GPD needs to get a good portion of the funds generated from issuing citations instead of it going to the courts. The courts need to put their own fees for those who appear for sustainment. Then GPD has good incentive to actually use the ticket books. Brad, they tell me, I agree. First of all, I agree with you. I would like to see the Guam Police Department net 100% of the revenue that they would receive. Well, maybe a little bit of a handling charge because it's got to get disposed of over at the court. So somebody's got to see that process through. But yeah, I'd like to see the cops get more mileage out of their citations. I'm trying to remember what the number is now, and it feels like a disincentive for them to use their citation booklets. But the other part of it is, we need more cops on the roads. We just absolutely need more police officers out there. The PDN in their editorial this morning, and I think when Bob looks at him this afternoon, I think that he's going to blue pen the Pacific Daily News here this morning. GPD Chief Joseph I. Cruz said patrol officers are the first line of defense, which is why they're on patrol duty. And it's clear more patrol officers are needed. In 2015, there were 325 police officers on duty. In 2016, that fell to 303 officers, then to 289 officers in 2017. Cops have repeatedly said they need at least another 200 officers to properly protect and serve the public.
You can't have less police with a growing population. That just makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, so they are asking, where are the plans to begin filling those gaps? The last 3 years should have seen increases in the number of police officers, not decreases. It's one thing to say public safety is a priority. The continued shortfall in needed police officers speaks much more loudly and accurately. So, yeah. That, I think, is a very, very good point, and I think today they're going to win the press the meat battle that takes place every day on Bob Klitsky's show. 8:57 in the morning. A couple other thoughts here. Tony Danza, Alyssa Milano, yes, in that new program. Yeah, they could buy radar guns and other crime-fighting equipment and be able to maintain the air conditioning at the lab. There's another one of those whatever happened to stories from once upon a time that we might figure out is worth talking about again. And if for no other reasons, because there could be some pretty significant changes around here. We spoke earlier, and I might riff on it again in the next hour, depending. Oh no, we've got guests coming in the next hour. There's a new radiologist in town. We'll talk about that over at Guam Radiology Clinic. Peachy, I think, is her name. And so she's been from around here, and now she's back. So we'll talk about that in the next hour. And if there's time, and if I get some small talk portion of the program in the next hour, I might spend some time talking about some changes that I think are coming. The legislature is going into session. And there are a number of lame duck senators that just might not give a blank anymore about whatever, and they might be of the mind to have a good time. Because I know I would. If we were talking about my last sessions as a member of the 34th Guam Legislature, and somebody came to me with the flesh of a medicinal marijuana bill.
The story of the outcome would be regaled from legislatures through the end of time.
I would start messing around. First thing I'd do, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to propose an amendment to the measure and strike out the words medicinal and insert the word recreational. And let's go do that right now, and then we'll continue to talk about the measure. And if for no other reasons, because we don't want Saipan to have something that we don't. That will be it. And that's why I'd stand up and, Mr. Speaker, the good people of the islands of the Northern Marianas have now decided that they are going to support recreational marijuana for their people and the people that might need it for medicinal purposes. And I suggest we do the same. Otherwise, we risk losing out on... give me things that we might move out.
Tourism dollars.
Valuable tourism dollars. And
prestige.
And the prestige of being the bigger island of the Mariana chain, and we should be the ones, the leaders, not the followers. You see where I'm
headed? We
at?
can't miss out on being cool.
And the cool Mr. Speaker. You would like to be known as the coolest speaker, wouldn't you, Mr. Speaker? It's already written in my head. I can see this happening Monday. 9 a.m., the radio station is KUSG. Here's Fox News.
Protecting globalism. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump making his second address to the UN General Assembly, singling out one nation he says is acting badly.
From the moment he arrived at the UN today, President Trump had Iran in his sights.
You have the floor, sir.
Taking from the same playbook he used against North Korea at last year's General Assembly.
We cannot allow the world's leading sponsor of terrorism to possess the planet's most dangerous weapons.
In a tweet this morning, the president ruled out a meeting this week with Iranian President Rouhani, though he did say, quote, "I am sure he is an absolutely lovely man." Rouhani responded in his speech by likening President Trump to a modern-day Hitler.
Fox's John Roberts at the UN. The Senate Judiciary Committee has set a Friday vote on the confirmation of Brett Kavanaugh for Supreme Court Justice, as the woman accusing him of sexual misconduct is expected to be before the committee Thursday.
I think we ought to go into these hearings with a presumption of innocence, but hear the argument on the other side, the testimony on the other side, so that the members of the Senate can make a decision here on a very, very significant matter.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, Democratic Leader Chuck Schumer wants to hear from a person who the victim, Christine Blasey Ford, claims was there.
What is wrong with having an alleged eyewitness, Mark Judge, testify? What are our Republican friends afraid of? It makes eminent sense to have someone who was in the room, at least according to all reports, testify.
A second woman has come forward accusing Kavanaugh of sexual misconduct. She's not expected to come before the committee. Bill Cosby will spend his first night behind bars at a new state prison in suburban Philadelphia after he was sentenced this afternoon to 3 to 10 years for sexually assaulting a woman in 2004. Fox News, fair and balanced.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local inspired breakfast. AM loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Sometimes a penny saved can lead to much more than a penny earned. With GPA Energy Sense rebate program, the power is yours. Earn money back while saving on your monthly power bill. GPA Energy Sense rebate program will help lower your initial costs when purchasing approved GPA energy efficient appliances and upgrades with monthly savings you can expect. For more Energy Sense saving ideas, visit GuamPowerAuthority.com or like us on Facebook. GPA, bringing energy solutions to you.
The city of Chicago says it's making progress on one of its biggest problems, guns.
Chicago police report that some 7,000 guns have been taken off the streets citywide year to date, with 1,000 guns alone taken from those that shouldn't have them on the city's south side, District 6, that's plagued by crime and violence. Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson calling it a small piece of the puzzle that requires more gun legislation.
In the meantime, our officers will continue to face these dangers every day in seizing these weapons.
Year to date, over 2,200 people have been shot, 360 killed on the streets here in gun-free Chicago. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
Twitter expanding its policy on hate speech.
While the company's current rules prohibit the promotion of violence, threats, or discrimination, reps say there are still tweets many people consider to be abusive, even when they do not break its rules. Going forward, Twitter wants the policy to include content that dehumanizes others based on their membership in an identifiable group, even when the material does not include a direct target. Explaining language that makes someone less than human can have repercussions off the service, including normalizing serious violence. Before it goes into effect, Twitter is asking users to rate the policy and its clarity in a survey open until October 9th. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
A former puppet specialist with the Broadway musical The Lion King accused of printing a 3D gun in the theater's prop room. Ilya Vet arrested on a misdemeanor charge. He told police he was making the gun as a gift for his brother who lives in upstate New York and has a gun license. But in New York, it's illegal for an unlicensed person to print a 3D revolver. Disney declined comment but said that Vet no longer works in the show. Wall Street at the close. The Dow lost 69. The Nasdaq gained 14. The S&P fell 3 points. Lisa Lacera, Fox News Radio.
Attention GovGuam employees. Open enrollment for GovGuam health insurance plans begins on September 17th through the 28th. With a wide range of healthcare offerings, Take Care's benefit plans allow members access to more than 120 medical providers, 40 dental providers, and 20 pharmacies in the region. Get access to 19 fitness partners, including the largest fully functioning fitness center in Hagåtña and Dedido. As Guam's leading healthcare provider, our commitment to your health has never been stronger. Take Care. Our island, your health plan.
Portions of the program brought to you by my friends over at King's Restaurant. They're your friends, too, because they know how vitally important it is that you sustain yourself with really, really good tasting food that's nutritious and healthy. And so that's why today it's pork sinigang. Yeah, they got a different meal for you to try every day. Monday is Salisbury steak. Tuesday, beefsteak. Tomorrow, it's the middle of the week, so we've got the sinigang. Tomorrow is meatloaf. And, did he say meatloaf? Yes. And then Friday, it's beef tinaktak. What a great way to enjoy a week on Guam with Kings.
Honolulu, Seattle, LA, Vegas, Chicago, New York. With your first Hawaiian Bank United Mileage Plus credit card, you can save 10% on United flights to these great cities and anywhere else in the U.S. Book your tickets at the United City Ticket Office, talk to your travel agent, or go to united.com and use promo code FHB18U. Visit FHB.com/United Fair Sale 18 for offer details and restrictions. Terms and conditions apply. First Hawaiian Bank, member FDIC.
It's 6 after 9 o'clock in the morning. Portions of the program also brought to you by Guam Regional Medical City, the first choice for all of your open heart surgery needs. And then we also have our friends at APL. American President Lines is shipping the future, and American Water Tech. Smarter water, better water. And finally, you know what? I was reading something this morning. I may or may not get back into this as a conversation. I was talking about where West Texas crude is and the link between West Texas and the prices that we pay with the Guam Power Authority. And never been a better time to get into solar. But here's the story I was looking at earlier today because I was trying to remember when we were talking about oil prices around $150 a barrel. You remember that? Yeah, and please, Ray, don't call that demon. It's too late. The words are already out of my mouth. So I was Googling $150 barrel oil and found a bunch of stories that are relatively recent that are talking about the possibility that we might see a super spike in oil prices, taking them back up around $150.
Wow.
So Micronesia Renewable Energy, they got a Facebook page. Find it and get that system on your roof tonight.
We get it. Gas and utility rates keep rising with no end in sight. But with Double Play from GTA, you can get an extra sweet deal that'll save you extra cash. Sign up today and get 50 megabits per second with fiber home internet, unlimited talk and text, plus 25 gigabytes of wireless data. And new customers get the first month free with no contract. Save over $500 in the first year and get extra with Double Play from GTA. Conditions apply. Visit gta.net for more details.
It's hot pastrami. That's the big deal. It is a huge deal, actually, because it doesn't come around all that often. It's I don't know, Christmas, Super Bowl, and good Super Bowls at that. So the folks over at Subway say, okay, now is the time. So they've got this hot pastrami. You get that great meat, lean cuts right there. You put it on whatever your favorite bread is. I've got 9-grain honey oat is my particular favorite. Although I'm a fan now of the wraps that they do over at Subway. So you might want to try the pastrami in wrap form. But get big orders or order double. That way you can share it with people you love.
The Ray Gibson Show, your new News Talk headquarters.
I got 8 after 9. What do you got on your clock? 888-8255. That's 888-8255. And great to spend some time with, I get my share of medical professionals that come to the studio to start talking about, what it is, their specialties and things like that. And I got friends in the medicine game from all over the place, including the guys over at Guam Radiology Consultants. And you got Nate, who I'm still threatening to one of these days give an hour a week to so that he can come in and talk about everything that's going on over at his place. But in medicine in general here on Guam, and absolutely delighted because I remember when I was growing up, when I was a little boy, we knew all of the doctors on Guam because there were like 5. There were just like 5 doctors, and then it was just a bunch of nurses. There were no such thing as a specialty, and if you broke something, you went and you got an X-ray. That was the state of the art when I was a little boy. But it's changed so much with the technology and where things have gone. So this whole imaging platform and a suite of technology that imaging is driven by, and they're making a big deal over at GRC about it. And I love this press release. Highly skilled radiologist comes home and joins GRC. You're going to hear her laughing in the background. Peachy May T. Piana, MD, has joined the crew over at Guam Radiology, huh?
Yes.
Welcome home.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
let's start with this before we get into the medicine and the tech of it, okay? Because I'm a tech guy. I love, as you can see, me and Mike built everything that you see here. I got monitors and I got little cameras here and I got microphone and stands that don't make noise. And you ought to see what Mike gets to deal with in his side. So I'm crazy about the technology. So you and I are going to compare notes on all of that here in just in a couple of seconds. But let's first of all welcome home and tell me a little bit about your story, Peachy, Dr. Peachy.
Yeah, so thank you for having me here, Ray. Well, where do I start? I grew up in the Philippines.
I was going to say, which nuns raised you? So you're all raised one way or the other by sisters.
That's true because I did go to Santa Barbara Middle School.
There we go.
So I grew up in the Philippines, but when I was 10, I moved to Guam. And I went to Santa Barbara Middle School. And for high school, I attended academy and graduated in 2003.
Santa Barbara, I'm trying to gauge how old you are. Is it possible that Sister David taught you mathematics there?
No.
Not Sister David? Okay, because I know that she taught me mathematics, and virtually everybody on Guam at some point or another had stood in front of her blackboard worried about whether they're getting it right. But anyway, so you're Santa Barbara, and then you went to academy?
Yes.
Okay.
And graduated in 2003. And then went off island to Wisconsin. I went to Marquette University and majored in biomedical science.
Right, with the other Guam kids, because there's lots and lots of people from around here.
We have a
huge
Marquette
contingent.
Guam Club, which is really amazing, amazing group of friends. And from Marquette, I went to Philadelphia, moved even further east for my medical training. I went to Jefferson Medical College, and I stayed in Philadelphia for my diagnostic radiology residency. And I moved to California at UC San Diego for my fellowship in musculoskeletal radiology.
But you've been an actual MD, though, right?
Yes.
So radiology is kind of the specialty of it?
Yes, yes.
But I mean, I could come to you and say, I've got a thing over here and it's giving me a hard time, and maybe it wouldn't require an MRI, but I mean, you still got the doctor skills, right?
Yes. So as part of
do you get to cut anybody every once in a while?
Well, I do biopsies. As part of the new Women's Imaging Center that we're building at GRC, I'm doing a lot of the breast biopsies, things like that, to determine whether or not a lesion that's seen on mammogram or ultrasound is cancer. So I do some cutting, but not to the extent where,
So not like the super invasive stuff,
yes,
right?
Yes. So we do some minimally invasive interventional type of procedures.
That's okay, because there's not enough anesthesiologists around here anymore these days. So you need to be as minimally invasive and use as much as possible, local anesthetics and stuff that you're able to take care of.
Yes.
But now you'd mentioned something. It's been a while, like I said, since I've had Nate in the studio. But a women's imaging center at GRC. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yes. So with our women's imaging center, we're trying to mimic what's basically a national trend in the mainland, where we do have just one place for women to go for their screening studies. So what type of screening studies are we offering? So we already know about mammography, which is for breast cancer. But one important thing for women, also particularly Asian women living on Guam, which is our population, is osteoporosis and weak bones. So there's a study called a DEXA scan, or a bone mineral density scan, which basically after doing a couple of x-rays of your spine and your hips, it can determine what is the density of your bones, if you're normal, if you have low bone mass, or if you would be classified as osteoporotic, which will put you at increased risk of getting fractures of your spine and your hips. So if we are able to detect those patients who have low bone mass and also osteoporosis, we can guide them with lifestyle changes, dietary changes, as well as there are some pharmacologic therapy that could help treat that to improve their bone density to prevent fractures.
Well, let's talk about the diet part, because now this is fascinating to me. The first question is, are there places, is bone density something that is uniform through that particular piece of the skeleton, or is it like other things where you've got solid over here, kind of weak over here, back to being solid over there? Is there
it is
soft spots?
It is variable. So with the bone mineral density scan, we evaluate the lumbar spine, which is the lower back, and also both hips, because those have been proven to show basically show the areas. In analyzing all three portions, the average of it will show us if the patient has weak bones.
So you said there are ways, if we identify, you take somebody, you put them through the study, and you say, okay, you are a candidate down the road for having osteo issues in the future. So this is how we'd like to head them off.
Yes.
I'm assuming diet and exercise are going to come into the conversation here.
Yes, definitely. Particularly if the patient, of course, if they're normal, we still encourage them to do these dietary changes and lifestyle changes. But in particular, when they start to have low bone mass or what we call osteopenia, we encourage them to increase their calcium intake. Any calcium-rich, food like yogurt, milk. Also, to do some weight-bearing exercises.
Why is that? What's the connection? Why is that build? Because I can see where it would build strong muscles, but why? How would it help with making the bone structures?
So with weight-bearing exercises, so bones are made of the marrow, which is kind of the soft center part of the bone.
The tasty part.
Yeah, and there's also some trabecula, which are, and the cortex, which is made by trabecula, which are basically bone fibers that kind of wrap around the cortex. The trabecular portions of the bone, they respond to pressure sensation. So as you're doing your weight-bearing exercises, they like muscle, they kind of become thicker and stronger.
So they'll react to that.
Yes.
Oh, how interesting. And that will help stave off, if you will, or push off, some of the complications that may arise as a result of having this weakness. And now, how do you avoid it altogether? Can I just because 56 years old and eventually my lifestyle will catch up to me and I might get, never mind the women in the women's imaging center. This sounds like something that might have an impact on the entire population.
Oh, yes, definitely.
So how do I avoid it, Doc?
Again, in terms of things that you could do on your own without a doctor, improving your dietary intake with increased calcium in calcium-rich food.
Mike, can you check and see if there's calcium in beer? I'm sorry. You were talking about because I don't want to have to make too many lifestyle changes. Already a runner, and I do my own versions of I don't want to call it weightlifting, but I have my own exercises to try to keep myself fit. And I like to say that I've got a decent diet. I'm not dead. So what'd you find,
Ray? There are 14 milligrams of calcium in beer.
Thank you very much. Okay, so 14 milligrams. How many do I need to drink before I'm
my
can
goodness.
consider myself off the list of candidates for osteoporosis?
That I would have to get back to you and research.
I'd like to volunteer myself and Mike to be a part of your research program. There's still a lot of that going on though in the doctoring business though, right? I mean, there's still a lot of research avenues. As an example, you've probably done some degree of research in order to get your credentials and maintain your credentials. So tell me about some of the things that you've written, your discoveries.
So actually, this is way back college days, but something that is quite interesting and related to Guam is I was researching this compound called BMAA. Basically, it's an amino acid that is kind of thought to maybe be related to the ALS-PD dementia type of stuff that we used to have in Guam in the 50s, but I believe it's really, we don't really have as many patients anymore. So they have been researching why is it that there's a lot of ALS and Parkinson's dementia type patients in the 50s, and I don't think they quite figured out the reason why. And so there have been other people.
About Litigo and Bodig?
Exactly, Litigo Bodig, yes. So they have many theories, but I don't think anyone has really proven the cause. But one of the theories is that there's this compound called BMAA, which is produced by cyanobacteria or green algae. And these green algae are really abundant. They grow all over the place, particularly like different like lakes and in the ocean or whatnot. But one of the other places they grow in are the cycad seeds. What is the term now in Chamorro?
Fandang.
What
Yeah,
is
I
it?
think
Is
that's
it
the tree. It's the
Fadang?
Fadang,
Yeah.
yeah.
So in the cycad seeds, these green algae produce BMAA, and because way back then when the Japanese came, they took all our produce, and basically the Guamanians didn't have anything to eat, but they didn't know that we can ground the cycad seeds and make it into bread.
Yep.
And on top of that we also could eat bats.
And the bats ate the seeds.
And the bats ate the seeds, which there's this biomagnification of the dosage of the BMA from just a small dose in the cycad seeds and it's biomagnified in the muscles of the bats. So the thought is that because of that higher dose in the bats, that could potentially have caused litigobotic. Again, it's not really something that is definite, but it's just a theory.
But in the generational changes where there's fewer people that are eating the fadang, there's fewer people that have
Exactly.
access, especially around here. I don't believe that there's any live colonies of fruit bats on Guam
Yes.
anymore. It's possible that it's gone out of our diet, so we're no longer no longer presenting with that particular disease. You're right. I think it sounds like the same thing. Dr. Steele, I think, who had done
Yes.
years and years of research on that in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. I think that was among some of the same conclusions that he found was when he first got here. Lots of people with litigobodig, and then towards the end of his medical career, virtually nobody anymore. So I don't know, good or bad, but it's one of those life's mysteries or something like that.
Yes.
Why imaging? I mean, there's so many other things that you could have gotten into. I mean, you've got an MD for heaven's
Yeah.
sakes. I mean, that's any more the spectrum of specialties that you
Yeah.
could have jumped into is so broad.
Yeah.
Why'd you get into imaging? What was it?
So that's a really interesting question, because when I was in medical school, I was kind of that type of person where every time there's a new rotation, like, we would go through internal medicine, pediatrics, OB-GYN.
Yeah.
And every time I would go into that rotation, I'm like, oh, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And then I would keep switching and switching. And I was like, man, I like all of them. So what field is it? Would you need some kind of like a little bit of knowledge from each specialty and you can kind of use? And that is in imaging, because we help surgeons, internal medicine, pediatrics, OB-GYN,
Yep.
all sorts, all of this basically all of those knowledge is incorporated in imaging, because all of them need our help to diagnose their patients. So that's one of them. And another thing is that when I was in college, I really fell in love with anatomy. At Marquette, they have this unique major, the biomedical science major, that in your second year of college, you actually get to have a class with gross human anatomy where we had cadavers.
Nice.
So typically, the people who are have the opportunity to have working with cadavers, they're already in medical school or dental school. But it was kind of unique that as early as college, second year of college, I was exposed to that. And I really fell in love with anatomy. And in imaging, you really have to know anatomy really well to kind of figure out what is abnormal, what is normal. So,
But with the cadaver, and I get it's kind of three-dimensional, but with imaging, the way we have it anymore,
Yeah.
you get to see it from all of the different aspects, including, right.
Different planes.
Yeah, the different
Yeah.
planes. So you kind of have to learn a new way of looking at the body.
Yes.
As opposed to here it is on the table and you cut it open and this is over here and then underneath that is the other.
Yes.
You have to think in terms of where they are, like the circles of a tree.
yes.
This is where the spine is, and you need to be able to identify. At least I do when I look at slices of things. Where we are in the body, and try to figure out. Okay, if I'm up around here, then these are the organs that I expect to see. These are the bones that I expect to see in that layout. So you have to learn that top to bottom, right?
Yes, for sure. But on top of that too, so we have the diagnostic portion of radiology, but a lot of people don't know that we also have this interventional aspect of radiology, which we do a lot of at GRC. Like, for example, if the patient has a lesion in their lungs and they need a biopsy, that would be the radiologist who would perform that under CT guidance or the CAT scan. With breast imaging, if there's a lesion that we're concerned about, we can biopsy it under ultrasound or under something called stereotactic biopsy through small mammograms. So it's not just the diagnostic portion where we're not just like stuck in our cave and all alone.
But for people that are cancer patients, and I know
Yes.
this from personal experience, that might be getting certain kinds of cancer treatment, rather than you irradiate the cancer, but in years past, their issues were that the patient was moving or breathing or just they couldn't maintain a focus on where the particular cancer was. So my understanding is now that we've got the technology that takes the irradiation and ties it up with the radiology, so that as the patient moves, as the cancer moves, the radiation will follow it.
Yes, I believe they do have that.
Name for that. I can't remember. I think GRMC actually has one of those gizmos.
So that is part of radiation oncology. Which is actually there used to be all one board, which is the American Board of Radiology and Radiology Oncologists. But the radiation oncologists have now separated, so it is a separate residency versus the diagnostic and interventional radiology.
But it's so cool that we're able to, but
It is.
It's 2018, and we're talking about technology that didn't exist when I was a kid.
For sure. I mean, in another thing in terms of the advances in breast care, in the past when someone needed a biopsy, they would have to go to surgery. Now we don't, it's really, we don't even make a nick in the skin. The needle that is used for the biopsy is literally as big as the tip of a pen. And
Wait a second, that's a pretty big needle. So maybe it's small to you,
it's
but
small.
for me, that's...
No, but it is something that literally disappears within a week. I see these patients after their biopsy. I can't even see or tell where we went in. So it's not, it doesn't require a large a surgery and a large cut or anything like that. It won't leave any scars. So we've definitely advanced with our breast care.
So, Dr. Peachy, the longer you know me, the more you'll find that I like to use words that I have no understanding of. And among them are words like MRIs and CT scans and all of the different tools that you've got access to. And I use them like I think I understand what I'm talking about. But as an example, what is an MRI? What is a CAT scan?
Okay.
What's the technology that separates the two of them?
Maybe I'll start a little bit to a more basic thing that people know.
Sixth grade English.
Oh, no. No, I mean, I'm just going to go a little bit backwards to start with x-rays. Okay. So an x-ray is just, if you were to liken it to photography, it's just one picture, right? One picture of, like, for example, the chest x-ray will take one picture of your chest. And that's it. It's basically like, a 1D photo, right? Like a one-dimensional or two-dimensional thing, I guess I should say. And then if we take that to CT, this is more of what we call cross-sectional imaging, where instead of I just get one picture of the chest, I kind of get multiple shots of the chest, but in different planes of the body, like starting from the neck, going down all the way to the top of the abdomen. So that's multiple slices of, I guess, photo, if you will, in one point in time. So I can see a larger portion and a clearer picture of the body.
Right. So you've got the X-ray that will show you kind of a topographical view, and you look through the organs that show up in the X-ray.
Yes.
But with the CT scan, as you say, now we're looking at it from a different kind of a different perspective. You got the rings of the tree that I was talking about,
Yes.
And different places where you can get them. In the music business, we start talking about the digital compression and pulse code modulation. It's basically doing the same thing with the body, where we take the audio that we're listening to and we sample that moment in time. We sample that audio that moment in time, or that space in the composition, and say, okay, and then what we do is we have several of those built up, 24,000 of them, or 96 kilohertz worth of them, and you put them all back together in the machine, and songs come out. So it's the same thing with you guys. We're slicing the body along that axis, in different places, and they've got different numbers of slices. Right? What's the state of the art now? 64 slices?
There are some that are higher, but really for clinical purposes, 16 is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so and there, as I said, there's 64 slice toasters that are out there and available here that we've got on Guam, and there's very, very serious technology to be able to do that. But then the technology that processes that so that you can see it is also kind of amazing.
Yes, yes.
And then you've got the portability of it. So if you're looking at something, and even as many years as you've been Dr. Peachy, you look at it and say, you know what, maybe I need to have somebody else look at it. You email it to Dr. Mike over there, and he can look at it as though the patient were in front of him.
Yes.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, it's really amazing. I also frequently, I keep in contact with my co-fellows and co-residents, and if there's an interesting case that I want to share with them, or maybe something that I might be, curious about what they thought, it's easy to just take a photo through WhatsApp of the image and share.
As long
that
as
way.
we're not violating any HIPAA,
Oh yes, for
HIPAA
sure.
codes or
As
anything
long
like
as there's no, patient information on the image.
But now, what about telemedicine? What is the role that imaging plays in telemedicine and the ability, if I needed to have somebody, as you say, take a biopsy, if it's something that might be beyond a technician's skills, you'd be able to do that with like TeamViewer or Log Me In from somewhere, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know about actual procedures that would be difficult, but in terms of getting someone's help to read diagnostic imaging, that's very possible. I mean, we don't have teleradiologists at GRC, but I believe GMH and GRMC, in their night shifts or night call, they send their studies to outside off-island radiologists, so that these studies don't have to wait till the next morning to be read. They get immediate results.
That's something you're bringing up, something that I've seen, and in fact, I remember I had a chest X-ray done, and the technician gave me an idea of what it was that she thought she saw, and I'd mentioned that to the doctor that ordered the X-rays, and he got mad. He said she wasn't supposed to do that. She's not supposed to interpret it. She said, all she's supposed to do is take the pictures. I'm the doctor. I'm supposed to interpret that. But at some point, you get people that's what they become very good at, is being able to read what the imagery is trying to tell them.
Yeah. I mean, it's good that our technologists have that, obviously that ability so that they can kind of tell. The only caveat is that if they tell you the wrong thing, like, oh, you have cancer, or, but
really?
And then now the doctor is stuck with like, oh, I have to, the patient got stressed out and got anxious, but they really don't have it. That's the reason why maybe that particular doctor is, tell their technicians to be cautious in telling results to patients that may not be accurate.
Yes.
But it is good, and we want our technologists to be excellent technologists, and it is good for them to know what's abnormal and not abnormal, particularly if there's something that's life-threatening. As soon as they take that chest X-ray and they see maybe like a pneumothorax or a large gap, air like that's collapsing the lung, they have to let the radiologist know right away, hey, there's something wrong with this patient. What should, do you want me to send her home? Should we?
Now.
Yeah, exactly.
9:33, and Dr. Peachy is her name, Peachy Piana, and born and raised, or not born but raised on Guam. Studied at the same school as my sister Rebecca did back in the day over at Marquette, and there's many other Marquette grads that we've got here on Guam. And she's currently working at Guam Radiology Consultants. And as I said, I'm fascinated with this, not because it's radiology, but because it's the technology that drives radiology. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. And you were talking about the Women's Imaging Center. So I want to know a little bit more about that and ways that men may use the Women's Imaging Center. You were talking about breast cancer. And unfortunately, there are men here on Guam that will get breast cancer. And so we'll talk about what has to change in the diagnosis in order to begin treating men that may have that problem. 9:34 in the morning, that's iConnect time, and they are the practical choice. 888-8888 is the telephone number to call and find out what it is that they can do for you in terms of push-to-talk and mobile and internet plans.
Get a 20-ounce stainless steel Circle K Coffee Club tumbler. Just stop into any Circle K, sign up for our Power Pass rewards program, and after your purchase of 15 cups of premium coffee, any size, you get your tumbler for free. While supplies last, conditions apply. See store for details. Get a 20-ounce stainless steel Circle K Coffee Club tumbler. Just swipe your Power Pass key fob when you purchase Circle K Premium Coffee, any size. And after 15 cups, you'll get your tumbler for free. While supplies last, conditions apply. See store for details.
Morico Equipment on Ipao Road has been around a while. 28 years on Guam, in fact. 28 long years of dealing with Gov Guam, persevering through typhoons, earthquakes, the U.S. military, boony dogs, boony grass, off-island, on-island, old Marine Corps drive, destructive winds, and dangerous surf. So they know a bit about equipment on Guam. Lucky for us, the employees who work at Morico Equipment also own Morico Equipment because they're very proud of what they do. Call 649-1946 or click moricoequipment.com.
If you got questions for Dr. Peachy. Otherwise, I got plenty of them lined up here this morning. As you can tell, and as we've talked before, Dr. Peachy, I like the technology here that I get to work with. Virtually everything here is digital and computerized and sequenced, so I can spend more time thinking about the program that I want to deliver as opposed to the technology that may or may not work to help me deliver that. And I know it's the same thing, even more at Guam Radiology. I've been in your server rooms. I've seen the technology that you guys got over there, and that's required now. That's table stakes, right, for imaging and radiology?
Yes. And, we get frequently the American College of Radiology audits us, and the FDA particularly in terms of mammography in our program. We actually just recently received high marks, and our program is approved from the FDA.
Oh, how interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't realize. So there's like an accreditation program that you guys fall under?
Yes.
Oh, how fascinating. What in your mind is the holy grail of radiology? I mean, you look at the advanced state of the technology that you have now. Remember, we were just talking a second ago about X-rays, and now X-rays, that's so pedestrian. And I remember ultrasound when the babies are being born. We've got the ultrasound, and it looks like the fish finder on the boat. You know, you got to kind of know and be able to interpret what you're seeing. And I remember a few years ago when my daughter was being born, that we went to go get the 4D ultrasound, and I consider that the day I met my daughter. It was August the 25th. I remember it like it was yesterday because the date stands out in my head because I remember, and the DVD I got from, I remember watching that over and over and over again and looking to see if there was something that I didn't see in real time. And the technology is just so fascinating these days that we've got to work with. And as you point out, 64 slice toaster. What's next? What is it that you guys are looking for now? What else do you want?
I think this is mostly...
How much deeper can you dig into the patient?
Yeah, I think this is mostly on a research basis right now, but they have MRIs that right now, so we discussed earlier about CT scans, but you have a similar cross-sectional imaging. You can obtain a cross-sectional imaging of the body through MRIs, which is magnetic resonance imaging. Instead of using radiation, we use just the magnet, basically, and the response of the atoms in our body to that magnet that the machine produces.
Super hypercharged magnet.
Yeah. So right now it's just cross-sectional stuff, but we are also sooner we'll be able to do more of instead of just a whole bunch of pictures, like a whole bunch of cross-sectional imaging, we can do like videos, basically. We could see, we are able to do it now. You could see on MRI how the bowel moves and peristalsis. But other things, I guess, way beyond in the future, you could also analyze like the brain and like what portion, they call it functional MRI, where which portion of the brain actually works when you're eating or you're moving your left hand or your right hand or when you're feeling anxious or when you're feeling scared and it will light up. Things like that. Those are kind of more the high-end type of MR imaging.
And so once we've got the technology that allows us to do that, then we create the different methods by which we will use it to diagnose and cure some of the
and a lot
issues.
of that, some of that is already being used on like a clinical trial basis, but it's not something that is like constantly used currently.
Right. So when we're doing a 4D ultrasound, and so that's basically what it is. It's sound, right? So we're not using radiation or magnets.
Exactly.
We're just throwing some frequencies into the body, and based on the time that it goes and bounces back off whatever it is that we're looking for.
Yes.
Now I thought that was pretty cool. So what is now the MRI version of that, where you'd be able to isolate, say, a part of the body, and so let's say we've got a patient, we're worried about pancreatic cancer or something like that, and there are places where the cancer will hide in the pancreas, so it's that much more difficult to detect. Are we at a stage now, or working towards a stage where we would be able to say, all right, I want to conduct this MRI, and I only want to look at the pancreas? I only want to see the kidneys. Or I only want to see inside the kidneys. So you could almost dissect using the return from the magnetic resonance or the radiology.
Well, the way the imaging will be performed will still be the same. We will still analyze depending on the field of view that you're concerned about. So you can choose just the pancreas, and we will still scan through. So portions of the liver and the kidney will still show up and things like that. But we have things called post-processing, where we can get 3D images of things. So like after contrast or dye has been performed, you could do something called MIP imaging, where basically the machine produces like 3D dimension how things look, and you can like spin around and rotate it.
Exactly
and
what
so
I'm talking about.
that is available now.
But it's not real time yet.
What do you mean by real time?
Like you can't do all the patients in the machine. You said that's post-process, right?
It's post-process, yeah.
See, that would be the fun, because the computers are going to get faster. The data dumps are going to get to be negligible at some point, and you're just going to be able to say, okay, I should be able to. We'll filter it out. I just want to see pancreas. We'll go through the whole tour and look at everything to make sure. Okay, we got to make sure that the kidneys are functioning properly and that the liver is in the right place, because there's all of these connections that you've got in there. But I only want to see this. So you press the button that said pancreas, and then it would go through it in real time and filter everything else out. So all you had was the pancreas, and then you could see it in action in real time. That's what I'd like to see. If I was Dr. Peachy, I would order one of those things up. Do you work on the equipment as well? Because I imagine that as a doctor, they probably taught you a thing or two about electronics and why your machines work the way they do.
Well, for the MRIs that is ordered, we protocol them. So there's particular sequences that's better for, say, like a problem with the pancreas or a mass versus like an MSK-related problem with like tendon or muscle injury. So we would basically prescribe certain sequences depending on what they're looking for. So in that term, yes, we do sort of work with the techs and the machine, but we do also have a biomedical department that takes care of making sure that the machines are working properly, that they're calibrated properly.
Got spare parts.
Yeah,
just to make sure everything is working all the time. So far we've been talking about scary stuff like pancreatic cancer and breast cancer, and I kind of want to move into an area where we say, because not all of my listeners have pancreatic cancer or breast cancer or even breast. So, but let me ask that question about breast cancer in men and how you can use the technology at the Women's Imaging Center to be able to treat men with breast cancer, among other things.
Yes, that's a great question, and basically we use the same exact tools that we would use to diagnose breast cancer in women for men. So, the same mammogram machines, the same ultrasound machines, the same, options for biopsy, whether it be ultrasound guided or stereotactic guided, or even at times an MR guided biopsy is performed. So all of those are available for men as well.
Okay, so if you're concerned, and you should check yourselves as regularly as women are checking themselves to ensure that they don't have anything foreign or feeling foreign in their bodies, and if there is, don't die of shame. We're fond of saying these kinds of things on the radio because it helps to make it so that it's more relevant to people. The men especially will not go to the doctor, I've got this pain here where I sit and I don't know what it is. Well, go see a doctor because it could be something terminal down there, and so and it could be terminal in the breast as well. And like anything else, I'm assuming that there are differences among the different kinds of breast cancers that men can get. Because my understanding with breast cancer cancer is, there's this kind of breast cancer and there's that kind of breast cancer and that kind. And it takes somebody that can read the imaging to determine which one of those villains that they're dealing with and how to treat it.
Right. Well, our role is really to find the abnormality, and if it's suspicious enough, to biopsy it, and the pathologist will tell us basically, what the exact diagnosis is, how aggressive the cancer is, and now they're also even going down to the molecular part where, like, if it's hormone, if it would react to hormone or not, and things like that. So the chemotherapy can be targeted to certain breast cancers, whether or not they have certain hormone receptors and markers.
Interesting conversation. And it is cool that, you're an MD and you're capable of having conversations at a lot of different levels, and you bring them all together using the technology that you've got that will help drive the conversation then about how we're going to treat this and save the patient's lives. Okay, so enough of the scary stuff, the scary medical stuff. What are some of the other uses of your imaging technology that's not necessarily related to cancers?
So I'm fellowship trained in musculoskeletal radiology and intervention, and I do a lot of as an aside, we have a pain management doctor, Dr. Gerlin.
Okay.
Yes, and so she sees a lot of patients who have, any kind of pain, joint pain, back pain, and things like that. And if she determines that maybe a patient would benefit from, for example, knee injections, whether it be steroid or some hyaluronic, I can't ever pronounce this word, hyaluronic acid, basically like an oil change for your knee, to put in more lubricant in there, then the radiologist performs that procedure. So we inject whatever joint it is that it is in pain, and we also do some cervical, thoracic, and lumbar injections to help with back pain.
So you do that, so you're sure that it's hitting the target, right?
Exactly. We do it under guidance, CT guidance, ultrasound guidance, or fluoro guidance. So there's always some kind of imaging guidance to tell us exactly where to go. So we're not just palpating or feeling around and then injecting random things.
It's a little bit more accurate
yes,
of a deal.
Very accurate. And we find that with patients who see Dr. Gerlin, our pain management doctor, and she's really good at triaging which patient could just benefit from, taking pain medications versus the injections. And typically when she recommends the pain injections, the response rate is very high.
Okay. Now, what about athletes? Do you see a number of athletes taking advantage of imaging technology?
Oh, well, yes, for sure. Actually, at UC San Diego, we took care of a lot of the high-end football professional athletes and also like Olympians. So patients who have like sprained their ankle during like either practice or an actual game. We talk directly with their orthopedic surgeons and also their physical therapists and rehab doctors to kind of help with treating those injuries. And it's really important for, as you can imagine.
Yeah, but what about training? I mean, are there okay, so I'm a runner, right?
Yeah.
Distance runner, and I like running 5Ks and things like that. So are there things that you have access to in your toolbox? And let's say money's no object, doctor. I'd like to participate in a little bit more research. Are there ways that you can look at my muscular skeleton layout as an endomorph, ectomorph, I forget which one I am, and say, for your body type and based on the MRIs or the CAT scans we've done, we suggest that you pursue this kind of training?
I see. I think that would be more beneficial to see like a physical therapist or a kinesiologist. Typically, the kinds of patients I see are already like symptomatic. For example, you're having knee pain, we did x-rays and CTs, and it's like we're not seeing anything abnormal. Then we get an MRI. Do you have a meniscal tear? Do you have a ligament that's torn? Do you have, maybe if you're a runner, an iliotibial band syndrome where that band on the
that sounds
side.
painful. So the longer names are the ones that hurt the most.
So, we can diagnose things like that for runners with injury or particular like pain, whether it's acute or chronic pain, and then that will help your doctors to figuring out what kind of therapy, like versus conservative versus surgical therapy.
So have you ever been in the machines?
I've been in an MRI, yes, I have, and a CAT scan too, and I've done ultrasound. One thing that they could expect that's maybe not many people don't know is when you go into an MR machine, it's kind of like a donut hole. It's a large bore magnet.
It's scary.
And you go inside,
There's
and
anxiety.
And the magnet does produce a lot of noise, but we give earphones, and you can choose whatever music you want to listen to during the study. And for patients who are anxious, we also give them some sedation to help them relax.
Yeah,
and claustrophobic patients.
I had an injury a few years ago, and without getting into too much of the injury, the suggestion was made that I go and get an MRI.
Yeah.
And then the first thing they start telling you is, okay, all of the metallics off of your body immediately. And you're going, wait a second, I don't normally wear anything anyway.
Yeah.
But I was getting into that thinking, are you sure if there's nothing? Because like if you have something inside of your body that's made out of some kind of metal, when you turn the machine on, it will come through the tissue, right?
It depends on whether or not that metal is MR safe. So that's something that we would have to evaluate. That's why there's this large screening form that you have to check, have you had surgery? What kind of metal do you have? Are you a welder? Might you have some like metallic debris in your eye? So things like that. We make sure that the patient is safe before we proceed with the study.
Yeah, because there's an X-Men movie that uses that as the basis of one of the kill death scenes, and I can't remember which one it is. But yeah, I remember going in there, and I remember putting the headphones on, and I was supposed to be like a 45-minute procedure, and it played like the same 3 Christmas songs over and over and over again. So just a thought, bring your own CD and give that to the technologist and say, here, play this instead. Uses the same kind of, oddly enough, you're in a room, you're surrounded by space age technology, but my recollection is it uses the old airplane audio over air headphones, right? Because they can't be electronic headphones.
Yeah, everything has to be MR safe.
Yeah. So I remember that was among the strange feelings. And then the anxiety that I felt, not necessarily because I was in that confined space, but the doctor said, don't move. And I cannot, anybody that knows me knows, I cannot not move.
Yeah.
For that long period of time. And you get that feeling like I just need to, it was in my leg that they were shooting. So I kept wanting naturally to move my leg a lot.
Right.
How do you deal with patients like me?
Well, so we break down the sequences. I mean, the study depends. It could be a 15-minute study. It could be a 30-minute study or longer. But you don't have to not move for like 30 minutes.
The guy said.
We would let you know, like, okay, we're going to start the sequence now. This is going to be about 2 minutes. Please don't move. And then, okay, we're going to start the new sequence again. So you kind of have a little break here and there. But it is very important for these diagnostic studies that the patient, as much as possible, stay still so that we can get good images.
Right.
But I mean, in general, really, the MRI is very safe. That's why we really haven't had any issues with any problem, any problems, patients getting hurt or anything with the machine.
I've never heard of anybody getting hurt, but like I said, there is that anxiety, especially as the donut, as you move through the donut and they're isolating the space that they're going to be working with, and then that big noise that pops up all of a sudden that you're going, wow, where did that come from? We'll wrap up here in just a second. Spending some time with Dr. Peachy Piana. Like there's an Enye at that, so I want to make sure I get the name right, so that you can call on her at Guam Radiology Consultants when it's time for you to get a CAT scan or an MRI or ultrasound, whatever. 9:53 in the morning. We'll be talking about brains and stuff next.
No one ever plans to be sick, especially when you're young. But sometimes things happen, and there you are with huge out-of-pocket expenses. And if your care requires you to go off island because your insurance doesn't include GRMC, you have hotel, food, and transportation costs on top of your medical copay. If you're a GovGuam employee or retiree, choose Calvo Select Care. It includes GRMC. And should an emergency arise, we're right here. GRMC, where patients are partners.
Cheese curls and hot sauce, pantosta and coffee. Great alone, but better together. Here's another perfect pair for you. Docomo Pacific has created the Better Together Bundle, combining 2 great services for one low price. Get unlimited local talk, text, and 20 20 gigs of data, plus unlimited home internet speed up to 20 megabits for $109 per month. You also get free installation and a Galaxy A8 Plus when you sign up today. Mobile plus online from Docomo Pacific. Better together. Some conditions apply. Call 688-KRC store for details.
Grilled salmon, petite sirloin. Can't decide.
What are you doing?
Making my top 10 list of favorite dishes at Ruby Tuesday.
You really need to get a hobby.
But I can't decide. There's no way I can narrow down so many classic dishes to just 10.
Then it's a good thing Ruby Tuesday did it for you.
It's the all-time favorites menu at Ruby Tuesday Guam. We took our most popular dishes and put them on one great menu for only $14.99. Hickory pork chop, Parmesan shrimp pasta, prime loco moco. 10 top sellers at one great price. Pick your favorite for a limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
9:55 Space Age music in the background because we're talking space age medical technology with Dr. Peachy Piana, MD at Guam Radiology Consultants, a doctor that gets to work with technology that I, even after the explanation, I still don't quite understand how we might be able to make the atoms in my body vibrate so that they show up on a computer monitor and you're able to see what's going on. And there's slices of the body that we can look at from all of the different angles and see the relationships between the target organs or the target bones or the versus everything else. But what oftentimes gets to be kind of confusing, at least to me as a layman, is talking about CAT scans for people with head injuries. What are some of the things that you as a doctor say? You got somebody comes in and he was in an accident. What are some of the things that you would be looking for in order to be able to help in the treatment down the road?
Right, so especially with a lot of times patients get CAT scans of the head for trauma or dizziness, fall, or concerns for stroke. So things that we can see on CT is, especially if there's trauma, is first, is there a skull fracture? Or is there a bleed inside the brain?
Those would be kind of obvious, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And some are more obvious than others. There are some more subtle bleeds as well. Other things to look for is, if there is a mass in the brain or an area that has a stroke and things like that. Those are the major things that we look for.
What does a stroke look like in the brain?
So the CAT scan, there is what the term that we call on CT is called attenuation of the parenchyma, basically how gray or brighter or darker it looks. So a stroke on CAT scan compared to normal adjacent brain tissues would be darker or grayer, darker gray color. And that is related to edema and basically fluid building up in the area that is ischemic or is no longer receiving blood.
Are there different places, and not that I've got a lot of experience in it, so forgive my ignorance here. Are there places in the brain that are more prone than others to a stroke?
Yes, depending on the cause. So it could be a hypertensive stroke related to your blood pressure, or it could be related to a blood clot that shot up in the brain. So there are. Depending on the cause of the stroke, then there are certain areas that is more prone.
And so there are ways, obviously, that can't necessarily reverse the damage once it's already taken place. But they say time will equal like tissue damage. So if somebody gets a stroke, is it a one-time occurrence, or is it a stroke something that can occur over several minutes or several hours?
It's usually occurs within several minutes and hours, yes. So the sooner we diagnose the symptoms, then the more opportunity we can get for treatment. For example, if a patient comes into the emergency room with a concern for a stroke, they get a CAT scan that is negative or normal. They didn't see a bleed. They didn't see an actual stroke happening, but the symptoms are really concerning and clinically concerning for stroke, then they can give them some blood thinners to treat so that maybe that patient will not develop a large area of ischemia or brain tissue that has no blood flow. But in the other end, if it's already been hours and there's already a large area that has
not much can be done about rehabilitating that.
There may be if you give them the blood thinners, there's a chance that they might be at increased risk of hemorrhage or bleeding. So this is mostly done by the neurologist, and they kind of weigh the patient's clinical situation, whether or not they should give
the
treatment. Yeah.
What fascinating conversation. I wish we had more time. Doc, thanks so much for coming in and spending your Wednesday morning with us. And best of luck back home on Guam. You get to treat family, friends, patients, and all of that over at GRC.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure's all mine, dear. It's at 10 o'clock in the morning. The radio station is KUSG Hagåtña. This is 93.3 The Point. My name is Ray Gibson for Michael Knight and Kevin Kerrigan and Blake Watson, everybody else playing around in the morning show here. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you tomorrow morning, and I hope you have an interesting plot twist in your day today. Here's Fox News Live.
She may not show. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The hearing on sexual misconduct allegations against President Trump's choice for Supreme Court nominee set to happen Thursday, but it remains to be seen if his accuser will be there.
Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein telling us that she cannot guarantee that Dr. Ford will even be at Thursday's hearing to testify, saying she has, quote, no way of knowing for sure. An attorney for the second accuser, Deborah Ramirez, just revealed she is not going to testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee. There was an idea that she might. Republicans are announcing that they may vote in the committee, in the Judiciary Committee, as early as Friday, a suggestion that they are moving forward with this process and that they are feeling confident that maybe they will have the votes to confirm Brett Kavanaugh to the high court.
Fox's Ed Henry. Bill Cosby spending his first night behind bars at a new state prison in suburban Philadelphia after his sentencing today on sexual assault charges. His spokeswoman, Ebony Benson, says they plan to appeal.
The DA's use of this falsified audio clip at trial is deeply prejudicial. Yet, it represents just one of many issues that resulted in the denial of Mr. Cosby's right to a fair trial.
Montgomery County DA Kevin Steele.
It's been a long wait for our victim, Andrea Constant, as it has for the other women who have endured similar sexual assaults and rapes at the hands of the defendant.
Cosby was sentenced to up to 3 to 10 years for the sexual assault of Constant in 2004. President Trump using his second address before the UN General Assembly to take shots at Iran.
Iran's leaders sow chaos, death, and destruction. They do not respect their neighbors or borders or the sovereign rights of nations.
Iran's President Hassan Rouhani, meantime, accusing the U.S. of trying to overthrow his government. Fox News, fair and balanced.
No holds barred talk. Can't miss documentaries, specials, and more. Plus, your favorite Fox News personalities. This is our time, and this is going to be our place. Fox Nation, coming soon. Sign up for updates and be the first to know. Go to foxnation.com now. The Fox News Rundown is a weekly morning podcast that dives deep into the major and controversial stories of the day. Hosted by the anchors of Fox News Radio. Subscribe now to hear a perspective of news you won't find anywhere else. Find it now on foxnewspodcasts.com. Tucker Carlson.
There's just so much barking and noise and yelling. Our role is to take 3 steps back and discern what really matters.
Sean Hannity.
The most important thing that we do, we are looking out for the forgotten men and women in this country.
Laura Ingraham.
They're going to get a straight shooter, no holds barred. I'm not going to cut people slack.
Fox is the one place where dissent is allowed.
We have voices. We won't be silent.
Who controls my voice? Nobody.
Fox News Channel. Real news, real honest opinion.
A reversal from a Rhode Island town that had approved a non-binding resolution to boycott Nike products. The North Smithfield Town Council voting 5-0 to withdraw it. Council President John Beauregard pushed for it over Nike's choice to put controversial quarterback Colin Kaepernick in its latest ad campaign.
I still believe that people who have truly sacrificed everything and whose faces should be on a poster are those officers who have given their lives in the line of duty and not someone who mocks their very existence.
Beauregard apologized for the attention the issue brought to the town. Federal prosecutors say a Chinese citizen living in Chicago has been arrested for spying on U.S. engineers and scientists, including defense contractors, for the Chinese government. An iconic coffee and donuts chain moves ahead with a name change.
Dunkin' Donuts is dropping the donuts from its name, but not from its menu. The company will officially be called Dunkin' starting in January to reflect its increasing focus on coffee and other drinks. Dunkin' will start appearing on napkins and boxes and signs at its U.S. stores, with the name change eventually adopted by international stores. Its name will change, but the logo, which the company has used since 1973, will stay.